This is the What's on Draft podcast.
So this leads us on to the question, actually. What we should have done last episode.
Yeah, well, this is either still the same episode. Yeah, this is either the same episode or the next episode. You know, you have to
4 or 5.
you have to find out.
Know what we
It's
call
either 4 or 5.
Yeah.
We're either splitting this podcast up or we're keeping it as the same one. Who knows?
Yeah, we're doing one full session. We're going all out because you know what, we like to keep it separate, so we do it like right. But I think we've enjoyed each other's company in lockdown.
It's good. It's
that
good
much
just
that we're
chatting
just
shit,
chilling.
isn't it? Like,
Yeah, and probably after this won't go in because it's been incredibly offensive.
nah,
Yeah, no, put it in. I don't give a fuck. like all British people say when they're smashed, I don't give a fuck.
yeah, legit.
So what we're now listening to is the Kings of Leon album. Well, it's not the album. We are listening to Kings of Leon, but it's just 2 songs, you said?
Yeah.
That have been released at this moment in time as we're recording this, so this probably could be the full album at the time.
Yeah, so pretty much
it's
the
released.
past week on like the Instagram and YouTube and whatnot, Kings of Leon have like posted like 30-second snippets of new songs, which is the first time they've released a proper new song in about 5 years. I think it's about 4.5 years, like properly.
Was it 16? Was it 16,
2016 Walls was out, yeah.
16, yeah.
So yeah, they released Going Nowhere, like an acoustic version, like a couple months ago. But yeah, like this is the first proper like release done out. So yeah, the full new album is coming out in, is it March? I think it is. So yeah, I guess that's some positive news. Positive news for 2021 is new Kings Leon album.
Oh yeah, I should have said the title of this part of the episode is called "Any Positive News of This Week."
Yeah.
Oh, this year.
We at the start we're like, oh fuck it, no, we're not talking about America and COVID. And then 2 hours later, we just fucking
just rinsed America.
Yeah, I think.
But also rinsed us though
Yeah.
as well. We didn't just rinse America. So if any Americans kick off, fuck you, because we rinsed all of those shit.
Yeah, we know how shit companies will, don't worry.
Yeah. So any positive news this week? So Kings of Leon album. Definitely written the new 2 songs. So at this moment in time, so you said what the March is it not till March?
Yeah, not till March till the full album comes out. So at the moment,
they
they've released. I think was it a couple of days ago. They released the Bandit and 100,000 People.
Yeah.
Which is, I think they're pretty sick because it sounds like the old stuff mixed with the new stuff. Like I know on the Bandit song, they've got like some of the same riffs as like You Somebody and stuff. I think. So
you know what? I thought it sounds similar to their old, like especially coming around Sundown. It sounds like that kind of like feeling.
Yeah.
Like especially this song. What song are we on now?
Bandit.
Bandit, yeah, definitely. Yeah, this one is legit. I mean, I'm saying this because it's not fair because now people who listen to this won't hear it. But go and listen to it.
No. Shout out Kings Leon.
Yeah, sponsor us. It's answer to the question last episode.
Yeah.
My favourite sponsor would probably be something like Kings of Leon. And unpopular opinion, Nickelback.
No. Do you know what the best one? We know what the best one would be. All Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh my god! Yeah. Oh my god.
All right. All Sunny in Philadelphia. All Sunny in Philadelphia short. Like that would be that'd be the dream.
Oh, but it has to be Charlie. I couldn't expect anyone else.
No, what would
Charlie and Danny.
Because just say say you got to sponsor the new probably season 20 of All Sunny in Philadelphia, and like we'd have to put a mint for like the sponsorship for the sponsor.
Yeah, we'd have to show up in the first episode.
Yeah, we'd have to do like our own like skit for it.
I'd love to be in that pub, like in the background.
Bernie,
we could be recording now.
Bernie from Rooster Teeth was in it, wasn't he?
We'll see. You know what?
He was in it. He was literally in it for half a second. He was sat at the bar on a stool for like half a second in one of the episodes.
Oh, that's enough. That'd be enough for me.
Yeah.
I think it'd be funny, and I think you know what? They wouldn't agree now, but they would agree if we were to be big, because they're just that funny, aren't they? That if we could be recording an episode in a booth, you only see us for a split second.
Oh my god, yeah.
But for them people, that pause, that you know what I mean. There, you'd be able to see us with a mic in the booth, like in the.
It's like one of the neon signs says what's on draft.
Oh yeah, that'll do me. I'd run around like Green Man.
Yeah, honestly, shout out All Sunny in Philadelphia, best TV show going.
It is definitely up there. I mean, especially when you talk about best TV show, everyone goes, "Oh, the quality, the rating." But shut up, man. Like, listen to the fact of how they've done it. These came round as small as us. Do you know what I mean? Like even smaller because we've got this platform now where we can do.
Yeah, it's kind of easy to put it on because at the start, just say if they were to create their thing now, they'd probably say would have put their first episode on YouTube or something because their pilot was just them shooting it themselves, wasn't it?
On like what it looked like a Nokia. You watch it on Netflix now, and like Netflix puts some old stuff on there, and it still gets put onto a widescreen.
Yeah.
But if you watch their first series, you can't watch it on. It's like you'll have the biggest screen in the world, and it'd still be a little square in the middle of your TV.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? Yeah.
That's the quality of the and still Danny DeVito's in it. What?
Yeah, is it the second season he comes in it with?
Is it like towards? Yeah, I don't know if it was towards the end of the first or the second, but either way, it's still.
I think it's the second or first season.
For the quality of the screen that he's still on it, it's terrible.
Yeah.
For the actor that he was, like he was in some top name movies, and he still ended up doing that. So, which amazing because now it's just like he must be making a bomb on that now.
Yeah.
Crazy, and you know what? I think you get to see a side of him that you didn't really get to see because he plays quite like say on Matilda, he plays like an angry dad. Do you know what I mean? That kind of thing, like, it's where he's the narrator as well of Matilda, and he's like just a serious person in general and everything. Well, not everything, but most things he does. With this, he's not a serious person. He's like the complete opposite.
Yeah, it's so.
He's crawling out of a chair naked, covered in oil. And
it's too fucking funny, honestly. But I think that's a good thing as well. It's like they write it and direct it all themselves and produce it all themselves, don't they?
Yeah, well, that's
so like that. It's kind of literally is just like a bunch of friends just like doing like a YouTube video kind of thing, but just on a bigger scale. Because all they do is obviously at the start as well. The first couple of seasons, it was just like. It put me it's just doing like daft stupid skits, like in like short videos here and there, and just put it into a TV show, which is just mental. But it's fucking unreal.
Yeah, I guess it is just one big YouTube. But the thing is, it was a lot harder for them back then. Like you see, YouTube wasn't a big thing back then.
It wasn't even existed when it came out.
I can't remember. Was it like 2001?
I think YouTube came out 2006.
Was it? Oh, I'm thinking of Facebook's 2004, isn't it?
Sure.
That's what I'm thinking. Well, and when I was Sunny in Philadelphia, is like,
I'm not sure when that came out. I'm gonna find out.
It's that old though, like.
2005.
Also, it might be. But to be fair, I don't think they had the intentions. They clearly wanted to be a show, and I think YouTube wouldn't offer people who were that serious about it.
Yeah.
But who knows? I don't know. But I'd love to meet them. They're hilarious.
Oh yeah, it's so.
I was watching a film actually the other day with Will Ferrell in it. I can't remember the name, but he basically is an alcoholic and he has to live on his lawn for about 6 days because his wife kicked him out. But Dennis is in it. Dennis is the boss that fires him.
Oh yeah.
So he's jobless, and I was like, like wow, like to see someone who's like, I say low budget because like actors, like you say like. A lot of actors do come from nothing, but you don't tend to see it.
Yeah.
You don't, you know what I mean? Big actors, that's why I say, I was talking about, like, doing acting and that, because it's just daft, isn't it? You always talk about it in school, maybe, like, but, like, you always say, oh, would you do a job, like, as an advert or as something, like, really small?
Yeah.
But, like, name a big actor that you know that came from something small. I mean, us British people do have a lot of them, because they came from, like, British shows. Yeah. But I can't remember seeing like massive actors. I mean, there is a lot. I'm being told the stupid here, but like the fact that like seeing someone like Dennis, who's clearly just came from a show where he's made it himself, he's wrote it himself, he's recorded it pretty much himself, and now he's in like a big budget film. It was like it was quite nice to see that.
Yeah, I guess it's
like say Charlie in his
career.
It's
Charlie Day, isn't it? It's like he's done like loads of like shit now, hasn't he? Yeah,
I think he's probably the most successful out of all of them, isn't he?
I think he's the most well known out of all of them. Yeah, obviously apart from Danny DeVito. I think out of the four, he's the most.
Like watching Charlie Day do a movie with Ice Cube, that was the most comical thing I've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
And it was like stupid stuff, but yeah. I don't even know what subject we're on now, but we're talking.
Fuck knows.
we were talking about Kings of Leon, and it's ended up on.
Yeah, I think pretty much because this came. It's because I was looking through the Kings of Leon YouTube for obviously all the new like teaser songs that Kate released, and like I was scrolling back through for a few years, and the Always Sunny in Philadelphia did a Kings of Leon like promo video. So it was kind of I guess that's how that's connected. So yeah, or imagine Always Sunny in Philadelphia doing a skit about what's on Draft. I reckon in one of the, well, not saying that they already did like the Gang Makes a TV show, didn't they? With the Charlie and Max Mam in the house. That's funny as fuck, that episode.
Yeah.
But I bet they're probably soon, because obviously they're quite relevant, aren't they? So I reckon like the next season or a couple of seasons, but like the Gang Makes a podcast or something. Because I think they already did like a TV show. They might have even done a radio. No, yeah, they did. Yeah, they did do a radio show podcasting on an episode before. I think that was more of like a radio show. Like, where Dennis is just pressing all these sound effect buttons and shit.
I might have missed. You know what?
I think it might have been one of the earlier ones actually. Yeah.
Oh man, I mean that's the thing with it's such a good show. Like I know we've talked about half an hour about this one show.
It's just too good.
Yeah, I mean you talk all day about big rep. I mean, if you haven't, and the thing is, you still have to rep it though, because a lot of people, and me being included, but that it's probably on its 5th season. No one I knew was talking about it. I looked on Netflix and I saw it and I thought, nah, it's not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
But then I started watching it a bit further on, just out of like boredom, because Netflix got so boring.
Yeah.
Like no one was talking about it still. And then when I actually started talking about it, like you know about it. One guy at work knows about it. Like loads of people have Netflix, but yet no one's watched it.
Yeah.
And I think like all in England, I'll say.
Yeah, I think especially because I can't remember how I started watching it. I think it must have been 2017 maybe when I first started watching it. So yeah, obviously there was like fucking 10 seasons or whatever out by then.
Yeah.
But I can't remember how I watched it in the first place. Really, obviously I must have heard it from someone. Why I just started watching it. But yeah, it's not really as big in America and in England as I thought it would be. Really.
It's more our humour as well.
It
really,
is. Yeah, it is quite a lot. Of, like British people will absolutely love it as well, because it's say it's not very like PC either. It's not very politically correct. Because like I mean, even some of the first like seasons is crazy, and obviously nowadays they've got to be a bit more politically correct, but it's still not as politically correct as you'd think for like a big massive TV show, which I guess is like a really good thing, isn't it? Because like.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, they got a few episodes got took off and that. But what annoys me with that is it's not being racist. In fact, it's sticking up for people who are not really. You know what I mean?
That's because
it takes the piss out of like the actual act.
Yeah,
essentially.
That's what it was.
And that's what British people find funny. Yeah, like British people find like you see that what is it? The Gang Goes Black, and it's like that's actually standing out for all the. You know, it's basically making light of the fact that this happens.
Yeah, they kind of make a joke about it, but at the same time, they're showing how stupid it is in the real sense of how stupid it is about being a black person in America. At the same time,
exactly.
they're thinking of how crazy it is in this 21st century.
There's like a famous thing about British humor where it's like it's literally what we like is the fact that you have to think about it.
Yeah.
Like and this is very common in a lot of it's not America, like in a lot of countries they don't like that. They find that very boring. They find that very like painful.
Yeah.
Like you have to sit and think of the joke. Where we watch that and like a lot of foreigners, not foreigners, like people from different countries, they'll be the same as us. It's not just a generic like British thing.
Yeah.
But that's our humour. That's why we differ from a lot of people, because we like humour that is a bit. Like, we like the fact that you've clearly just took the piss out of it, but you're still making a statement.
Yeah.
And I you know what I mean? I kind of, that's why I love it so much, because every episode, I mean, see, if you look at that one where it's like Charlie has cancer, it sounds so offensive. It's like one of the first episodes as well, and it probably is quite offensive, to be fair.
Yeah.
But there's so much into that episode that makes it a bit more. Do you know what I mean? Maybe I'm just giving it a
Yeah,
bit.
no.
Maybe I'm not. You know what I mean?
The first ever episode of Always Sunny is called "The Gang Gets Racist." Right.
Oh shit! Yeah, it did have that guy, isn't it?
That's the
Yeah.
first ever episode, and then in the second ever episode is Charlie wants an abortion, and then the fourth episode is Charlie has cancer. So it's just so like
Sounds
so back then. I think
strange.
it's so clever because even back then in 2005, they were like taking the piss of how like mental like say racism is or whatever, but like in a funny way and light of it. But it's just so creative, like as a whole. It's actually mental how good it is, really.
Well, I mean, some people like say look at like say South Park and they say, well, it's just stupid. It's pretty stupid, but they've managed. They're so smart that they've managed to do it in a way where they can't get sued. They can't get. Well, I don't know if they can or what, but I don't think they have. What they do is like attack, but they don't attack anyone realistically. They attack like stereotypes or news feed of like celebrities. So like when Caitlyn Jenner hit that person with the car, it was a recurring theme in one of the latest seasons, well, like a few years back. And it's like that's offensive to some people, and someone get a proper like wet on. But it's like they're doing it as a joke. Just laugh at the celebrity, not don't laugh at the celebrity. Don't laugh at a race. Don't laugh at it's not. And even the writers always say they don't promote hate. They're just trying to make fun of what's happening in the world, and fair play to them. If you can make it work, fair play. If you can make that work, fair play.
Yeah,
100%.
I think that's the thing as well. There's not much like it, is there really? Like I think that's because it's just so. Obviously, there is like a lot of good TV shows and stuff and good comedies out there. But I think like Always Sunny is just there's not a lot that has the same feel to it because obviously we were about like workaholics earlier, weren't we? I think about before the podcast, but obviously that you can tell they got a lot of stuff from Always Sunny, and like I think it would be so like fucking because they're the same. They're like produce it and write it all themselves and stuff like that. They're the same group of guys.
But yeah, I was just saying though. Yeah, like I definitely think they definitely got an inspiration, and I think that's what's good. It produces comical gold.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when people are willing to go against the grain.
Yeah.
And like find a flavour, and because that's like another thing. I know I sound repetitive. Like Jim Jeffries says, like he's getting in trouble for jokes he said about 5-10 years ago, but at that time the line was here. Do you know what I mean? And now the line's being pushed back, like where the line can go, because a comedian's job is to go right up to the line.
Yeah.
Like Jimmy Carr, like Frankie Boyle, right to the line until the audience stop laughing.
Yeah.
Because Jimmy Carr says that when the audience laugh, it's socially acceptable. So, like, there you go, right? So there's the line. But then the line gets pushed back 10 years later. You can't now have a go at that comedian because it's his job.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So these people, like Always Sunny, South Park, even Family Guy, stuff like even Simpsons do a bit of dark humour now and then. Do you know what I mean? Like, and obviously, like we were talking about workaholics, we'll go right to the line. And you know what? Fair play to them.
Yeah,
like,
it's like even them, like,
there.
because that's relatively new as compared to Always Sunny, and even they go a bit like out of it, don't they? Which it's quite
exactly.
good. That's what you need. You don't like fuck all this PC shit. It's like, do you know what I mean? Like you need that stuff.
Well, I mean, talk about like the first episode of Always Sunny. I'm sure it's not just so it's a gang goes racist, but doesn't the guy end up gay as well? Doesn't he turn the bar into a gay bar?
Yeah. Yeah.
So then like. It brings that into it as well. But you've got to think, there is most likely homosexual actors approving of this kind of humour.
Yeah.
Because they're in it, do you know what I mean? And like, these people who probably aren't even homosexual will be kicking off about it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
I think that's the... I think that's the big thing about it all, isn't it? It's just... Yeah, people just love to cancel stuff that doesn't need cancelling.
It's like a sense of power, isn't it? A power complexion.
Yeah.
Like, just, shut up. If you don't, like, see, the thing is, like, and I say this, like, all the time, that it's like rappers like Tom McDonald, he's a bit offensive, but he says it really how it is, and I'm not picking him up, I'm not backing him up or whatever, it's irrelevant, but, so, like, he says, like, basically, like, straight white male, like, does that mean I don't get offended?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I get offended by a lot of things. You got to think, like, the Irish got like a lot of attack. That's my ancestors. That's your ancestors.
Yeah.
But we, you know what I mean? I'm not comparing it at all. I'm just saying there is things that I technically get offended to, but you just grit your teeth and you just go by.
Yeah.
There's certain things some people go through that you just can't get by with. Like, I understand about the racism, slavery, and all that stuff. Like, yeah, 100%. But when you turn around and say I'm offended about some stuff that doesn't really matter, like
it's absolutely mental. It's just crazy. Yeah, it's kind of
2 episodes on cancel culture.
Yeah. Our podcast is definitely getting cancelled in a couple of years' time.
Yeah, a couple of seconds time.
It's already been cancelled. First episode was cancelled.
It's good. No, that's what people want to hear, though. It's the truth. We're not. We both have said this several times through these 2 podcasts. We've said, or through the full podcast, we've always said, like, you know what I mean? You can come and roast me, say what you want, slate me. I'll either be really offended by it and just like kind of back away, or I'll laugh about it.
Yeah.
I'll never like lose my mind over it. Like, at the end of the day, like, I'll stick up for my own. If you offend me, or I mean, if you physically attack me, then it's a different thing. But we've always said, like, our own stuff isn't correct.
Yeah.
Our own governments are correct. I'm not correct. I'm not the perfect person in the world, whatever. So, like, nobody can be offended by what we're saying because we're saying from all sides.
Yeah.
We're not one-sided. You even said earlier that you can understand where Donald Trump's coming from.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's
like,
because obviously you've got both ends of the spectrum. I mean, like, obviously you've got these people who are like, oh, like, I fucking love Donald Trump. Don't see that. I think that's the thing with them is they can't process the other side of it. Like, they think that Donald Trump is love and life, like 100%, like Donald Trump is life kind of thing. But say, like, with us, we're rational and we can kind of see where they're coming from a little bit, if that makes sense. But
like,
because we're open-minded,
really,
we can kind of see it. But with them, they can't see where we're coming from. I think that's the difference. I think between people.
When I look at, and think you're saying earlier, like, and this is the bad thing about social media. When I look at the Facebook comments, it's like the worst people. I mean, don't get me wrong. Far left are annoying as fuck. When I look at the comments, they are annoying as fuck. You saw whatever. I don't know what the class does. They're annoying as shit. But the only argument far right people can say, and especially in America, is you're deluded by social, like, leftism or whatever the shit's called.
They all think it's capitalism now, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. But there's no argument. The people on the far right, Donald Trump supporters who are like far like activists especially, they don't give an argument. They don't say, oh, well, Donald Trump's innocent because of this, or they just say, oh, you're all deluded.
Yeah.
So what they do, instead of arguing or debating, as you would say, which I'd prefer, I'd love a debate with anyone.
Yeah.
Like, instead of doing that, they turn around and just start attacking people. But at the same time, far left people do it as well.
Yeah.
Instead of like addressing what someone's trying to get, like, some people are open-minded. Far right people have got YouTubes out where they're like, is rape culture a myth or something like that? I don't know. Like, it's not me saying that. It's an actual channel, which I'm not involved with. But it's a guy I don't know if you've seen it. No, I'm guessing you haven't. A guy sits there with a desk and it says, like, is rape culture a myth? Question mark. Come change my mind. And he sits there and he wants people to come change his mind. Do you know what I mean? He wants to debate with people. Again, that's got nothing to do with my opinion. I just know it exists.
Yeah.
But in a lot of the videos that he puts on, people are just attacking him.
Yeah.
You know what? If you are angry what he's saying, fair play. But sit down and debate with him.
I guess that's the thing. Yeah, like say with us being open-minded, like I say, I could maybe sit down with like some massive fuck off Tory from like the right hand side, and I'll listen to all his points, and he probably maybe convince me that it might be better than the Labour or whatever. Like maybe after a couple hours, I might be like, oh fuck no, I might go vote Tories or Labour or whatever. Or like, oh, maybe after a couple hours, I might love Donald Trump instead of hate him. But like, see, like the other end of the spectrum is this people. No matter what you can say, you can literally like Donald Trump can literally murder the fucking kids, and they'd still fucking vote for him.
But he's the thing. Donald Trump has murdered.
That's the thing. He has internally done that, but he could literally go up to them and fucking shoot them in the head, and there's still still fucking vote for them. Like I think
have you seen the fact that he's pushed like executions, like people on death row? He's pushed their sentences earlier. So like I think 3 or something, or maybe 5 have died. in the time of him getting at the time of Biden getting told that he's going to win. Obviously, Trump has till January the whatever to move out. In that time, he's pushed executions forward on people on death row.
Yeah.
And he's apparently killed more people than any president before.
I don't know. To match it, I literally see shit. Say I'm actually he'll probably just press the fucking nuclear button. Him on his last day, it's just gonna be fuck this, because he just doesn't even care. He's just gonna press the fucking nuclear button him on his last day of work.
If he had any access to it, then fucking definitely.
It's gonna be fucking boop, and it's fucking thankfully he probably doesn't have access to it. Thankfully.
I think there's something like 6 keys or something. I don't think he even has one of them. I think it has to have been.
So thankfully, yeah.
But we move on.
I don't know what else fucking go on about now, but just fucking.
Well, we'll talk about any positive news this week or this month.
Well then,
we'll move on.
Yeah, what else we can go? Yeah, so they started on the new Kings of Leon album to Always Sunny to Trump again. But it's always Trump. He also keeps coming back, the fucking bastard.
It's pissing me off now. No, it's just because we're just talking about the current dilemma, the current state of the world. It's just fucked, isn't it? There's no, and that's why it's on everyone's mind.
Yeah.
Do you know, like you say, we talked about earlier. It doesn't affect us. We're in England. England's fucked already. We know this. But yet we still seem our heads so focused on America.
Yeah, I guess the thing, there's nothing else going on, is there? I think that's why it's even worse recently, because there's nothing to take people's minds off it, especially say people like you or whatever. Quite a lot, I don't know the percentage, but quite a lot of the population will have been a furlough for coming up nearly a year, and obviously some people have went back to work every now and then. So you went back to the pub maybe, I don't know, for a month or two or whatever. But there might even be some people who literally haven't stepped foot in the work or even worked at all since March. I mean, I haven't stepped foot in my work since March, but I've been working from home full time. But there's probably some people that have literally done nothing at all. So there's nothing else for them to do. They're probably like everyone's all I mean, I love a couple of months off and just watch TV and stuff and do fuck all and play games. But then after that first couple of months, you'd be bored out your mind and going crazy. And then what else is there to do apart from check what's going on in the world?
I mean, that's it. I mean, I've drove myself insane. To put it this way, right? I didn't register to vote, sorry, until just before furlough. I've never been asked about voting. It ruins your credit score not being registered. It ruins several different things. But I was against voting because I don't think any politician personally is fucking loyal or makes any fucking sense. I think they're all full of shit, right? And that's just the way I look at it. That's my opinion, XYZ. So I never registered. It's against my belief. But then I finally did, because what else have I got to do? So I didn't even register whether to Brexit or not. Do you know what I mean? Because I just didn't. I give a shit. So I didn't even know what Brexit was all about. The first vote was basically Labour versus Tory.
It was 2017 or something, wasn't it? Brexit, I think, or 2016. It was that long ago.
Yeah, it was ages ago. So my vote was well past that. My literal first vote was probably last year.
Oh yeah, because that was the proper election was last year again, wasn't it?
Yeah. So the election for, I didn't want Boris in. I wanted someone else in, whatever. But that's my first ever vote, because that's where I live my life. Because we were working, and every chef I've spoke to says that we talk about politics, and it's we always say, well, it doesn't affect us, because why would it? We're locked in the kitchen either way. It doesn't make a fucking difference. So it didn't make a difference. Now that I'm sat at home, I'm fucking watching every video. When the American election was going on, I was watching every fucking thing to see who was winning. Yeah. And I was like, that doesn't even affect me. Why am I even focused on that shit? Yeah. So, and that's someone who's trying to be in and out of work. But some people, I mean, I know a few people that have actually lost jobs because of restaurants not being able to open, and because it's home family restaurants that haven't got backing of big money. So once they close, lose a couple of months of business, you can't really open.
Yeah, there'll be so many people obviously self-employed people. Plus, I mean, there's quite a lot of fraud going on for there's billions of pound of furloughs being going out which haven't obviously people are just doing it that don't need it kind of thing. Billions and billions of pound of furloughs fraud. And at the same time, there's loads of people that aren't getting it when they should. Say small businesses, say family run pubs, restaurants, any shops or whatever. There's all of them where they're not getting the money they need, and the people are starving and shit like that.
I mean, especially say you know, a couple of people are like, see, obviously my industry, I know a lot of people that who have worked all the way up to manager to the point, and the business has done amazing. Like, it's amazing food. I've been there a few times. You know, it's amazing quality. But yeah, I know chefs that have lost their jobs because this place, and they're very, very good chefs, better than me, like 100 times over. And it's like they've lost their jobs purely on the basis that their company can't afford to like reopen, so they can't even afford to give them furlough technically. So it's like they've now got no money. They've got no you know, there's no sustainable way of living. And these are the people, and you see it more in the north than you do in the south. Not to start a war between them two, but it's like we've got so many people that are pretty much dying out here with kids, with families.
Yeah.
And there's not enough going out to kind of like. I agree on a lockdown at the moment because I think some people are fucking idiots.
Yeah. Oh, no, I think 100% like, but the shot obviously should have done months ago. But I think 100% like but I think it's not long enough. Obviously, no one wants a lockdown, but I don't think literally just fucking lock us down to like fucking May, and then open up again. Hopefully, I think we fucking everyone's got the vaccine, and for the summer it'll be fucking mint. But I don't think half of February is good enough, to be fair. Because I think like the last lockdown in November wasn't long enough, because pretty much the cases kept rising then. But even now, like with the weather and winter time and all that, but luckily like loads of people are getting vaccinated. Like I think it's at like 25% of like is it over 80s or over 70s being vaccinated now, which is quite a lot. So hopefully that keeps going up. But then obviously it's even then though it's going to be a couple of years before the fucking like say like I reckon it probably will be like a couple of years since like say like nightclubs and shit open again, kind of thing.
Nah, mate, man. If there's not on by the end of the year, I'm gonna
well, we'll just make our own. But
no, but I thought what was gonna happen because they're so biased. I thought down south they're gonna get all the vaccinations, and then it was gonna move up like gradually. Yeah. But to be fair, give them the due. Like I know a couple of older people that have already got the vaccine.
My nana's actually got hers. Was it the other day?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's sick. So that's what I mean. So that's progress alone. Do you know what I mean? I mean, my argument is right. Fair play to old people. Like you have lived this earth, you deserve it. We want to keep you alive. But why don't you just tell the elderly people to stay locked up, as they already have been, just for a couple of months, and get the people who need to go to work, get them vaccinated. So we can get the economy back open.
Yeah. I think
that's a personal opinion. Maybe a lot of people disagree.
No, I think so. I don't think my nana's left the house in the past year. I literally.
Yeah. It's just shit. It is shit.
I don't think. I mean, she might have done a little bit, but like she mean like this is like my step nana.
Yeah.
I don't think she's like literally. Like, she's got like obviously like bad like dementia and stuff, like getting bad dementia stuff now as like kind of old people too. But I literally don't think she's left her house since like March really, which is mental. Yeah. But obviously like got a lot of old people can't. So obviously if they're still in the home and they can't leave the house, then obviously people that do have to go to work that are key workers and are meeting people, they 100% I think should get it first.
Well, that's what I mean. Like I mean, my gran also suffering really bad for Alzheimer's at the moment, and it's like really upsetting. And she's having to like the only thing she knows is to go out to the shops. Yeah. Like it's the one thing she remembers, but she's done quite well. We've kept her in, but I still personally think don't give her the vaccine. Like, and obviously that sounds me being really harsh. But give it to someone that's going to bring the economy back. Just for a couple of months. It's not like I'm saying don't give her it ever. She can stay locked up for another couple. And it again sounds harsh. I don't want old people locked up. I don't. But we need to give the people that are working for this country, the key workers essentially, especially nurses, especially whatever, the vaccine first. In my opinion. Yeah. Again, understand. But just remember that my elderly person that I love dearly is also suffering. So it's like, I'm just saying personally.
Yeah.
But it's weird, but I'm glad that they're doing it that way anyway, because like I said, I thought it was going to go a bit more biased, but they haven't, so fair play to them, give them the due. It's like, say, people I know, when we live in a small town of Billingham, and the people we know are getting it. That's good.
Well, they've started rolling it out at my, at the doctors that my mum works at. They've started rolling out in like Billingham, places like that now.
I think they've just accepted a new one as well.
I think the Oxford one started rolling out now as well. But I guess it's just like, to see if it actually works or not. Like, maybe we'll probably find out in a couple of months if, like...
5 years, as most people say.
I mean, we'll have to figure out if if it does work. But yeah, because I just because obviously, literally, if it keeps going the way it is, it will literally be for like the next fucking 100 years. We're literally going to be in this constant lockdown, lockdown. So we just need to do a fucking full, massive fucking, literally massive lockdown, massive curfew. Fucking obviously people like you need you need freedom, you need all this stuff. But literally just do what like fucking some countries did, full lockdown, fucking have military in your streets, lock them down, lock the whole country down for a couple of months, and then you'll be fine again after that. Do you know what I mean?
Well, look at New Zealand. They had a couple of cases. They went right at it. ASAP lockdown. Did what they did. Now they've got 0 cases because they've still closed the borders. There's no way that virus is going to come back.
I think so, at this point, obviously, at the beginning, everyone kind of adhered to it. Really, obviously, there's some of the knobheads that are like no, but obviously, everyone like 90% of people probably adhered to it. But nowadays, I feel like it's more like 50% because of how much the fuck is about. Like even at the beginning, I was like, oh, all for it, all lockdown, save people's lives in it, save the NHS, all that stuff. Like, big up everyone. But now, I'm a bit like, obviously, yeah, I'm adhering to all the rules and all that, like lockdown stuff. But at the same time, it's a bit like it's kind of like they should have done this fucking last year. Like they should have just kept us in lockdown for the whole fucking year. That would be fine by now. Do you know what I mean?
That's what I mean. Like a lot of people are fine by following the rules. We did amazing as a country. We came together. The first lockdown, we didn't fucking budge. You know what I mean? We did it so good. Like some people in horrible situations, domestic. Thing is, you got to think of the first lockdown. Domestic violence wasn't even accounted for. Like people who were in domestic violence relationships were still not allowed to move out. To the point where in this last speech, he had to announce that people could finally move out of domestic abuse. So even in them situations, we stuck together. We stuck in unit. But then he was like, "Yeah, do this." Then he's like, "Next thing, don't do that. Do this, do that." And there's so many memes and vines and that shit. Well, not vines.
How old are you?
TikToks or whatever.
Fucking vines.
I know, yeah. There's so many TikToks of him. Do you know what I mean? It's because that's what I mean. And to remember, this fucking virus was known about in the December. It was just laughed about. Do you know what I mean? It was laughed because they were saying it's a common cold. And personally, I also thought it was a common cold.
Yeah,
because it was
100% when like February, March time. Because I said before, I don't know if I've said on the podcast, in COVID, I was in Prague at the time. England and Prague got locked down. So me and got mates were in Prague, and I think we got there. I think we were there Wednesday till Sunday maybe. So I think on the Wednesday, no, I think it might be Thursday or Sunday. So on the Thursday, we got there. We're a night out and whatnot. And while we were on this night out, we heard that tomorrow the whole country's gone locked down. Nothing's going to open. And I was kind of laughing about nah, people are over exaggerating it. Everything will be fine tomorrow. People in places will be open. Got up the next day, not a single thing is open apart from a couple of shops, and that's it.
Yeah.
So we were like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "Wow, I didn't expect this." But it was weird in Prague though. It was like they expected it because you could get takeaway anything. So say you got KFC and McDonald's or whatever, they'd have outside windows with takeaway stuff. And I was like, it's literally they've been prepared for this. You could still go to some pubs and serve takeaway beer and stuff. They'd have an outside station where they serve your drinks and stuff. I was like, it's a bit weird how prepared they were for. Obviously, stuff was just to sound like that normally. And then I think went to back to England for a week, and then I was in England for a week, and then that's when it got locked down in England. Then I was like, I think it was at first announced that we were going to be locked down for 3 weeks, was it? Or something like that. It might have been a month. I think it said, we're going to be locked down for a month. And I was like, all right, yeah, fair enough. And now it's nearly a year later, 10 months later now, and it's still the same as it was 10 months ago.
Well, I mean, this is the thing I'll stick up for.
Nothing's changed, apart from it's got even worse.
Yeah. He's just a fucking... But then you got these people that are like, oh, how come the Spanish influenza or whatever, we managed to cure that in 4 years, but this vaccine took us, less than a year. Oh, yeah. And it's well, it's called fucking science. We are getting better at it. Do you know what I mean? The politicians are still as thick as fuck as they were 100 years ago, but scientists are doing alright. You know what I mean? That's like saying, oh, how come fucking 200 years ago we thought the Earth orbited the Sun orbited the Earth, but now we believe the Earth orbits the Sun?
Yeah.
That's science. It's what it is.
No, yeah, it's
Yes, I. So I could do a full 24. I could actually do a 24.
I'm not surprised. Like we were saying before, last podcast, me and my dad, he drank for like fucking till 6 a.m. Because when you start talking, you just don't stop and you just go and go and go. And it just lasts for fucking ever.
When you meet someone that's open-minded, that's the thing. I don't say a lot of things that you might agree with. You say things that I don't agree with. Your dad exactly the same, because your dad's so like us three, really, all of us together. We're so stubborn with our opinion, but we're so willing to like look into other people's opinions.
Yeah, we're so willing to like learn about other people's opinions and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's how you learn. That's how I've grew my opinion on the world. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I could listen. I always say I could listen to your dad talk for fucking hours and days. And there's a lot of things. Even the thing is, my own dad, right? You know, we get along now as mates, really, right? But when I drink with him, like he now is he's a Tory at the moment, but he was always Labour, and he's like, because Labour was the working man's thing to vote for, but nowadays it's a Tory, whatever, X, Y, and Z. And I ended up like standing there. I only went in to go and pop him a Christmas card or something. I was stood there drinking with him for like 3 hours. And it's like I don't agree with what he was saying, but I wanted to learn, it's just like, whoa, you know what I mean? And that's it. 6 a.m. Fucking...
Yeah, it's mental, and it's fucking. That's why I can't even just like when they allow like 6 people back again, or even just like they allow people to travel again. Like, I just can't wait to like have like everyone back around like my house or something, and just have a massive. Even if like say pubs and clubs aren't open, even if like people just like come round and just have a massive session with mint.
You know what? I'll message good old Nick somehow, and me and Nick will come down.
Yeah, I think we did have another session in Nick's music nightclub.
Oh, but I wish I could. I wish I'd be part of that.
Oh, we need you.
I dream of it. I was so gutted that night you were doing it.
I should have got you out before, but you know, COVID.
Well, yeah, you did message me though. You did drunkenly message me. I was going to come round now at like 2 a.m.
You know, got 6 of them COVID rules.
No, we stuck by them. It's a shame, but
exactly. We'll suffer for it now. So hopefully in a few months it'll be fine and dandy. But you know, who knows? I hope so. I think we all hope so. You know, heads up, big up people. You know. I feel like
this is such a mashup of an episode because we keep talking about the subjects we were meant to be talking about 3 hours ago, and we keep going back onto politics.
Yeah, I think it's you definitely know we're getting old now when we talk about politics on the full podcast. We joked last podcast that we might as well be a podcast, politics podcast. I think even the first episode, but we pretty much are now just a politics podcast.
4 episodes in, not even a high demand for it.
It's not what's on draft. It's fucking politics. It's fucking weird.
Yeah.
It's just two northern cunts chatting about politics that they don't have a clue what about.
Mate, that's the direction we should have went with. Like two northerners going for like we're going to be the next MPs. We sound like the fucking the fat. Like idiots at a football game telling the footballers how to play football.
Look, guys, I can fucking do a better job than you. Fucking run this country, you bastard.
No, but seriously, on a happy note, and I don't even know how this is a mashup, but I do want to talk about these positives this month.
Yeah, no, but right.
We talked about 3 hours ago.
So on my recording, we're like 3 hours and 10 minutes into this recording. Which is it, as I said before, possibly getting split into 2. So I think like maybe the third topic of our full thing was any positive news this week. That was the third topic, which was meant to be spoken about 2.5 hours ago.
Oh, rip. We spoke about the first one briefly, which was Kings of Leon
album. And I guess also was it this week or last week the last season of the Vikings TV show came out.
Oh, that's not good news though.
Well, yeah,
it's not
I guess
good
it's
news.
A bit of both. Have you
seen
upsetting.
It? I have seen half.
I haven't seen any of it yet.
Like seen half of the rest of it. So
I've not seen any of it yet. I don't know why, but I'm just.
I'm not saying it's not good news.
I don't want to watch it because I don't want it to end.
Thing is, Did you ever watch Power?
Yeah. Oh, I fucking love that.
Right, see, I did the same thing, right? They did the exact same thing, right? where I don't know if it was actually over the same time period, but like it's over like December, but they stopped it and said like half season later. You know what I'm on about? Yeah, that part, the last season.
Obviously with Vikings, they split theirs up, but it takes like a year, doesn't it, to obviously split them up. But with Power,
exactly.
I think it ended in November or December last year, and it didn't start again until January. So it was only like a 1 month, 2 month break instead of a whole year. So I literally thought at the end of that episode, where I don't want to spoil it, but that
spoiler alert,
something happens to a certain person right at the end. And you know what I'm on about, don't you? At the end of the episode, right?
Yeah, I know. I don't know the ending though, so don't tell me.
And then obviously, and then the next part, I thought that was the end of the, because I heard that was the end of the TV show forever. And I was like, what? I was like, no. I was like, it's kind of a good ending, but it's not at the same time. Like, I'd like to know what happened. And then there's this the end, but I didn't even know there was going to be a part 2 of this season. I didn't even hear about it. I didn't know there was meant to be a part 2 that was coming out in January until I googled it. I was like, what the fuck? And it's the same, I guess, with like quite a lot of shit nowadays. Is they do all this, but then
it's a common thing now, isn't it?
There's meant to be 3 or 4 spin-offs of Power now, isn't there? There's one that's already out, which is called Ghosts.
It's his son, isn't it?
Which,
his son.
I might watch actually, to be fair, just to see what that's like. Because I really love, but I actually really enjoy Power.
I 100% enjoyed it. My point was purely that I still to this day have yet to watch the second part of the season. No. No, because I watched how it ended, like on that thing, as and then I just couldn't find, because I waited. I mean, say it's only 2-3 months, but like I waited, and it was like, you know what? I bet it's gonna be shit anyway.
And it's kind of like, you'd rather have that ending than whatever the ending's going to be.
Exactly.
To be honest, I think at the end of the day, that ending that there and that part, I can't even remember what happened on the part 2 of that season, but I think the ending of the part 1 was probably better than the end of the part 2.
Well, the thing is, though, I had a feeling that, and it's the same with, like, I haven't seen the ending of Vikings yet. But mainly I'm still heartbroken over the main character, which I'm not spoiling it for anyone who hasn't watched it. Just of certain events, but then I'm not again saying anything about the second part of the season because I don't know how it ends. But it just isn't laying up to be. I mean, to be fair though, I think a lot of people said it about this last season. I think that's why they're ending it. Because this last season and the season before was I think, to be fair, I don't think a lot of people did.
Part 1 of this last season of Vikings was a bit bare. Because it's all just about, like, spoiler alert for people who watch Vikings. It's all about, I guess it's not really a spoiler because it's not that big of a deal. It is a little bit, but not really big. It's just about Ivers in Russia now, isn't he? And that's all it was. It pretty much was Ivers in Russia, and then other little bits here in Norway. And that was all it was. It was like nothing really happened that much until like the last 2 episodes of that part.
I'm not gonna lie. I skipped a couple of episodes where it was an Ivor in Russia. I'm not gonna lie. I actually just skipped it. That much
because not really happened. I don't think.
That's what I mean. I remember watching 1 or 2 where it was just dedicated to Ivor, so I was like, oh, it's a recurring theme. This, so I just skipped it. I probably missed some crucial parts, but I was like, I don't care anymore. Like, it's not that interesting. Like it was. I love, by the way, like hands up to the fucking guy who plays Ivor, amazing actor. But it's just the storyline was a bit bare, and again, they did really well on getting a lot of factual events.
I think it's because obviously it is
exaggerated,
loosely based on like real life factual events, isn't it?
I mean,
I'm looking forward to see how it ends. But then, I think we spoke about this. Was it a couple of days ago or something, or last week, that they are making a spin-off to Vikings, which I mean they should, because it is mint. Also, it's a Prime original. That was an Amazon Prime original, and then the next one, the next season, like the spin-off of Vikings, is going to be a Netflix original, which is weird. So it's
incredibly annoying to me because History Channel itself started and what I loved about that is they actually went to Norway. They went to wherever. Every single settlement, every single part of the clan in Scandinavia. And also, they came to England and went to York. They went to, like, Northumbria, like, where all the main events happened. They did the research and they started it. And you can see as Prime took over that it started thinning out
I guess clearly,
the factual events.
History Channel, it was literally by historians, isn't it? And obviously,
Yeah,
obviously,
I mean, to be fair, you got to remember historians did
Yeah.
exaggerate because Rollo isn't actually Ragnar's brother in any story. So it's true. And Rollo, technically, right, he's a little fact, is William the Conqueror, his grandfather.
Oh,
I learned that.
I
How
might.
cool is
That's
that?
pretty cool. That like, that's a. I might have because
Yeah,
he
so,
was
there
French,
you
wasn't he?
go.
William the Conqueror, wasn't he?
Yeah, William the Conqueror, and
Because obviously
Rollo
Rolo
is actually a
was
Viking.
French,
The Rollo storyline, if you watch it, if you haven't, then I'm sorry for any spoilers. But Rollo is what Rollo did was technically true.
Yeah.
He just wasn't the brother of Ragnar. That's the only difference. Or Ragnar.
What? I've not heard that. What was he just like his friend or something then, or?
No, like completely years
Did they
apart.
not
You're
know each other for,
talking.
like years apart.
Yeah, so like you're talking Ragnar was probably about 4th or 5th century, and then you're talking about a few hundred years later. I don't know the exact dates. Yeah, like Rollo's a Viking, very famous Viking that went and took over, invaded Paris, or it's called as Normandy. Became, and the exact same thing happened. He became whatever a Duke of Paris by marrying into it, basically threatening them like he did in the actual show. And then he ended up becoming like the Emperor of Paris or France or whatever. And his grandchild is William the Conqueror. To a degree. See, I'm not a historian. It's just what I've read though. Like I like to look.
Yeah, no, I like searching it. I've not actually searched that much in it stuff though. Like I've searched like it's about some bits like writing stuff. So I do love like doing history stuff. And even then, like I've learned quite a lot of my history stuff from like Age of Empires 2 and 1 and stuff. Like it's because you play as William the Conqueror in Age of Empires 2, don't you?
Shit, yeah.
So yeah, I learned like I remember like in history in like secondary school and primary school, like hearing about all this stuff. I was like, I already knew that from playing Age of Empires, a video game. I think like we learned stuff about like obviously it's about like the Scottish of like is it what's he fucking called, William the Wanderer, and all that shit, and like Joan of Arc's in it, like loads of shit in Age of Empires. There's like loads of like it's all quite like historically accurate as well. So I've learned like loads of shit from that. And then same like Age of Mythology as well. Obviously it's called Age of Mythology for a reason, but it's all like true to the mythology that was like spoke about back in the day.
Like, yeah, exactly. It's to be real, you've got to remember like it's as true as.
And then you've got obviously got all the famous like obviously all the gods are like what they were. Then you've got like Agamemnon, not Agamemnon. I can't remember what it's called now. But you obviously got like Ajax and all that stuff and all the famous.
Such a good game. Such a good game.
They are like.
I mean, that's the thing. You've got to be as thing is. I mean, I've just checked there. I was lying a little bit. Rollo is the great grandfather of William. So it was in 927. Rollo abdicated. So like that's obviously what 1066 was. Yeah, William Conqueror. But on that, like you can only be as truthful as the myth. So Ragnar, as if anyone knows now, it's a popular theme, isn't it? In Vikings.
Yeah.
No one actually knows if Ragnar was real. It's just a myth. The story's written about him and his sons. They don't know whether these Vikings claim to be his sons, like Uber and Halfdan and Bjorn. Is it you say? Like obviously there's no evidence to say that because why would there be? You're talking like obviously was it like the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th century? It's like the time before, so you've got to be as accurate as you can be, which is why again I'll go back to what I started with. Like as you saying about Age of Empires, they do good by what they did, and so did History Channel. They exaggerated it a little bit, like saying they knew for a fact that Rollo wasn't Ragnar's brother. But they just did that. But they still went and did as much as they could to make it as real as they could. Like say Ragnar attacks Paris, but Vikings didn't attack Paris until well after that. So it's that kind of level. But they still did details. They still did like the clothing, the tattoos, the hairstyles. There was no horned helmets, like because Vikings didn't wear horned helmets. So when you've got and then Age of Empires did the same thing with everything though, because they've got so many games, haven't they? Where they're like, well, they've got so many cultures in that one game. Yeah, well, essentially.
What I'm looking at now, the campaigns is William Wallace from the Celts is the first one.
Oh yeah, so man.
But yeah, the Scottish independence. And then obviously against Edward Longshanks of the English, and then in the Frankish campaign to Joan of Arc in like the 100 Years' War, and then you got the Saracens. I think I butchered that name. Like featured Saladin and the Crusaders in the Middle East, and then you've got the Mongols with Genghis Khan, and then you've got the Teutons, which are I can't remember, they're Turk or Italians, with Frederick Barbarossa. Holy Roman Empire. That's it. So yeah, Italy. So like yeah, I learned like stuff like we got taught about in school. I learned like most of that stuff through playing that game.
Oh yeah, I mean everything I know. Like I'm obsessed with documentaries. My granddad raised me that way, but a lot of the shit I know is from games. And like my partner Sarah is a primary school teacher, but she still like because what she teaches is not on that level. But I'll be telling her about Romans, about Greeks, about things that you learn from like if you're a nerd essentially, or like just if you're into that kind of thing. It doesn't mean you're a nerd. Like I'll say I'm a nerd, but yeah, you don't get taught that stuff in school, which is a shame really. Especially in history, especially when you go into secondary, you don't learn anything.
I think the thing is as well, like I thought, like obviously I didn't do. Obviously, I did history up till year 9 because everyone had to, but I didn't actually choose it as a GCSE in year 10, 11 because I'm really bad at writing stuff, and I heard it was like just shitloads of writing, but I probably know a lot more about history than like loads of people did like that studied it. Because up until like year 9, I knew more than the fucking teacher did when he was talking about some stuff, because I played and researched it myself, and like and then you know what I mean? So I love like researching that shit, and I love to see even another thing I love to do is like doing all like loads of history stuff, and like even watching like obviously like loads of films all exaggerated and stuff like that. Same like loads of like pretty much every single TV show or film. They all say they're based on a real life story, so they're never actually 100% factual. But yeah, some of the stuff are pretty close and true to it. So yeah, I think is very fascinating stuff. But I think especially like
I like to look at
it because I think it's let's say like us like obviously play games and watch like not being sexist, but it's more of like a manly thing. Obviously, like war and action stuff like that. Did I say this last podcast? I said my memory's so bad.
It's the 6th time you said it this podcast.
I might have done. Like saying like I showed Emily. She didn't watch like I showed her Troy, and Gladiators over Christmas. We were watching them together. She'd never seen them before, and she was like, "Did this actually happen?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like mind blown how like this actually happened thousands of years ago, and like how. Like why they were fighting over this thousands of years ago, and this actually happened and stuff like that. I was like, obviously, especially in history, thousands of years ago, they don't actually know how it happened because obviously it's just something that was written down from thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
But I was like, this is pretty much as close as you can get to what it would have been like from thousands of years ago. And she's like, I was telling about the Trojan horse and all this and like gladiators stuff. She's like, did this actually happen? And she kind of didn't know that it actually happened. And I guess it's the same as your lass. She said like who was the bad guys in World War II. It's kind of like obviously that's a bit of an obvious one, but I mean other stuff. It's kind of like I guess it's more of like a boy thing in it. Like you love like war and fighting and stuff like that. Like
it's like it 100% is. I mean that's not saying like the majority. I mean I would say the majority of men do prefer it over women. There's still
I'm not
yeah. But I know for a fact. I mean, my dad's quite well intrude. Like he knows what he's talking about. I don't know if intrude's the right word, but I just say chat shit when I'm drunk. But I would say I'd outclass him in what I know, and it's because I've watched a lot of documentaries, played games, XY. You know, like we were saying. But I think I mean, I think a lot of it is ignorance, and this is why it annoys me when like this cancel culture will turn around and say, we need to stop teaching history. There's the person who went on Was it this morning or whatever? And he said we need to stop teaching people about the war because it's giving this generation anxiety.
Yeah, that guy needs to get in the fucking
Are you
bin.
for fucking real?
He needs to get in the fucking bin.
Yeah.
Was it some like
serious.
quotation marks influencer as well?
Oh, I you know what? I didn't look into it, and I'm glad I didn't. That's one of the things I didn't look into.
Influencer. that said it as well.
They just should be like illegal to say stuff like that. Like, how dare you? Like, there's still people alive that thought in that war, and you're telling them that it's anxiety that's killing you, but what they seen was a lot worse.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
and I think it's
people
respect
actually
that
live
we
through
learn.
and die for that, and you're getting anxiety from learning about it. It's like, fuck off, man. Like,
and I'm not disproving anxiety. I suffer from anxiety severely bad, and I suffer from depression. I can speak from all things. I've had suicidal tendencies, but I'll never turn around and say
you can't learn about that.
It was down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I was. Oh, it's because my granddad showed me what the war was. Like 4-year-old. I watched a documentary on the History Channel, so now I want to just cry myself to sleep every night. No, I mean, yeah, I do because it was fucking horrible, but that's got nothing to do with why I feel the way I am. Like, you just need to accept and own it. You know what I mean? You need to learn about your history because that's the only way the human race can evolve. Don't focus on your history, but learn about it to know that that's how. And I think you should learn about stuff like that because at the end of the day, these people lost their lives for this stupid shit. It was stupid. And, like, I think people, this is what annoys me about Sarah. Like, I love it a bit, and I'll say this on the podcast happily. But how do you not know who we were fighting in World War II?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and this honestly the smartest woman I've ever met. She's so clever. But that goes to show you, though, it is in that balance. You can be really clever, but just not know some of the simplest
to be fair, right? Yeah, like I think my mate, I think he does this in the podcast. I don't know if he ever get this far, or whatever. But I guess I don't know. To me, it sounded pretty obvious. But Tim, like we were on the train to Chester, right? And the trains we get are like the Welsh trains, because obviously we're like Liverpool's kind of like near the bot, like near Liverpool, Chester, right, like kind of near the border of Wales. And there was like Welsh language on the trains, and it was like do people speak Welsh? And I was like, yeah, of course I do. But he didn't know that. He's clever as fuck. He's a pretty clever guy, but he didn't know that Welsh was actually still spoken. And I was a bit baffled by it, and I was like, what? I think it's just some things you learn and some things you don't. Like, I mean, I guess I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't know how I learned that. I don't know how I learned it. But I guess just if you didn't hear it, then it's fair enough that you don't know that people actually still speak Welsh.
Well,
so
I think it's in the sense really like if someone came up to you and was like, "Oh, this country still speaks," like if someone said to you, "Northern Irish people still speak Gaelic," which is like the Northern, like it's just Ireland, it's Scotland. It's like, I mean, you could call it Irish as well. Like it's a mix really. Obviously, I'm not insulting anyone. Just from Irish people I know. That I know that actually still speak Gaelic, but if they said to you like they speak their own language, like. To me personally, like I wouldn't stand there and say, "What, really?" Like, of course they speak. I can't expect everyone to speak English when it's the most irritating language on this planet. Yeah. It's the hardest known. Like, it's literally known as the hardest language to learn.
Yeah, I've heard that.
You can't
expect. A lot of people. Yeah, that is. It's mad to learn. Yeah.
When literally when I've been learning Norwegian recently, I've literally done it for 3 days. Like I saw about an hour and a half worth. I'm not a pro. All our language comes from their language. It's so insane, and this goes back on the culture, really.
Plus, every language comes from Latin as well, doesn't it? Really.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're gonna go that far, yeah. But I'm saying like, because obviously you've got to think like. I don't want to say a certain country because I don't know where Vikings essentially came from. It's just Scandinavia. It's the whole bunch, isn't it? Really, and the words I'm learning now. It relates to French. It relates to English. I'm looking into it. Like I recognise some of these words. Like say their word for we is V. It's VI, but it's pronounced V. So we've literally heard that word. Oh, it's we. We've just changed that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like you know what I mean. So it's like for someone to sit there and say that there isn't another country that speaks out. I'm not saying anything about you, mate. By the way, it's just funny. It seems like I wouldn't say it's common knowledge. I just think I'd accept it. if another country turned to me and said they're still speaking. But anyway, on that note, the Welsh speak a fucking weird language.
No, it's mad. Literally,
well, they've got the longest train station name, isn't
no,
it?
it's the longest town name or village name in I don't know if it's the world or the country or whatever, but it is mad. And then there's that video that weatherman saying it, and it's but yeah, no, because when you do go on the trains, it's weird because you feel like you're in a different country because obviously in England everything's just English. We're not like other countries. Like if you go to any other country in Europe, it's just if you go to like to Spain, everything's in Spanish and underneath it it's in English. Right?
Yeah,
But in England, it's just English, that's it. But obviously, and then when you get on these trains, it's in English, then underneath it's Welsh, which is like really bizarre. I guess to other people that aren't obviously from like around the area, I guess. So yeah, it put it really bizarre.
No, it is weird because I mean you talk about Britain, right? It's in Scotland, England, Wales, Northern Ireland. So you'd think all these countries you just think instinctively all speak English, but there is still Scottish people that speak Gaelic as well. But when you think that Wales is a country that's been probably close to ally for a longest time. Like, I understand that's what my point was earlier. Like, I understand, like, that he's coming, like, because it's such a weird language as well.
Yeah.
It's not even relatable. It's not like, it's part English.
Yeah,
part,
I guess I think it's
because,
like, obviously, when you want to learn a language, you want to learn, like, a popular one, because, obviously, it might get you more jobs or whatever. Might be useful in your life. So, like, you might want to learn, I don't know, French or Spanish or whatever, because it's quite popular. But learning Welsh, nobody knows Welsh apart from the fucking Welsh.
Oh yeah, and to be fair, there's a very small percentage that actually learn it. It's the same as Gaelic or like, Irish, as they call it.
It's such a mad language to learn because there's only so many people that speak it, and it's like, what you need it for?
Yeah, and when you've got words like X, Y, fucking, I'm not offending anyone like by saying that. Like, I honestly, if you can pronounce that word, fucking again, hats off to you. Like, that's not an insult, that's a compliment. Like, like, but yeah, I know what you mean. Like, say what's the biggest language in the world is Mongolian.
It's not English, is it? No, it's
no, it's like Chinese, Mongolian,
I think
one of
is,
them too.
Yeah.
Oh, Mandarin, is that the one? Yeah. And like, you know what I mean? None of us know that.
Plus,
see, this is the reason why I picked it up.
That's a whole different alphabet as well. Like, literally, to us, every single letter looks the same to us. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So,
I mean, that's the thing, like obviously, like, I'm, like, obviously doing this now just because I feel like we listen to our friend Tristan, who's, like, such a clever guy, and he's, what, like, 19, is he? He's 19, so he's, like, a fair few years younger than us. And he knows more than us. He's, like, more educated because their culture is just different. Where we're so stubborn as a nation, like, we just think England is England. And then when you look at his language, like, their letters are the exact same of ours. Like, you know what I mean? There's a few different with the accents, where they've got a line through them and shit like that. But their accent thing and all of that, I mean, what does it say? He said, like, 3 or 4 of his friends know 3 languages.
Something like that, yeah.
And we know one.
I think English,
so I'm like, well, I
English are very stubborn like that because obviously, just everywhere you go abroad, no matter where you go, any country probably knows a little bit of English. Like,
oh, what you got to accommodate the English.
So I think because of obviously for tourism and whatnot, because obviously like, but the thing, every country in the world knows a bit of English. So.
That's the thing when he was saying, like, he goes to school, so they obviously go to school, learn Norwegian, they speak Norwegian, like, not like everyone does, they speak their language, but they also have to do English as a lesson. See, I always asked this in school, like, because we did English as a lesson, because you learn your own language, so you would think that other countries in the world would do, like, African, Norwegian, French, like, they do their own class as a language, as a lesson. No, they still learn their own language, but then they still have to do English. As a lesson, and I think that's so fucked up. But, like, fair play to them, like, that teaches them to be smarter than us. So how are we such a dominant? And I say we, like, it's not just British, like English, because you say English is English. It's American, because they've got their own terms of English. Like, we just think, we can just sit back and do what we want because the rest of the world accommodates us.
But speaking
that gives us
more than one language, you have to be so well. you have to be so smart to be like bilingual or like and shit like that. Okay, it's actually mental like how obviously I'd never understand it because I don't think in my life I'll ever. I'd love to be, but I don't think I'm clever enough to understand two languages because I hated learning like French in school. I love the class because
Yeah, yeah.
me and I think me and Joe just pissed about in it like for the whole time. So it was funny as fuck. But like I hated learning it because I just couldn't wrap my head around it. Like, um, so I didn't pick it up until obviously I had to learn until year 9, and past that I just binned it off because I just couldn't get my head around it.
Yeah, but this is what I figured out. I don't know to interrupt you,
That's it.
sorry, but like, is it you're
Yeah,
passionate?
yeah.
I was never passionate about French. I don't hate the French,
Yeah.
but I don't like the language. It's just not something I'm interested in learning. But now I've picked up Norwegian just randomly. I'm actually really interested
yeah.
by it. So I wouldn't say I know what you were going to say, but are you not just bored of the fact that we only got one option and that's learn French?
Yeah.
But might go to France, but it'll literally be for a holiday. I'll never.
Well,
move
I
to
think
France.
obviously it might have just been out of school, but I think even when my sister was in school, she was only a year above us. I think she got a choice between French, Spanish, and German, of which one she wanted to choose to learn. So I think she chose German.
Yeah.
And now, I think in uni, she learned Arabic, which is a whole other alphabet as well.
Yeah.
And to me, they're all like the same letters as well. So yeah, she's been learning Arabic for the past couple of years, which is absolutely crazy because literally that's a whole another thing. It's literally learning the whole alphabet, like knowing
Yeah.
another language, say like French or Norwegian, or whatever. They've got the same alphabet as us, so we can kind of
Yeah.
understand the words a little bit. You kind of
The odd accent is not much of a
you can
difference,
pronounce
is
the
it?
words, but other alphabets, how the fuck do you say that word when you don't even understand what the letter means?
Yeah, and that's again not being offensive. That yeah, I understand what you're saying. That every letter looks the same. It
To
does.
us, yeah.
It admittedly
But I mean,
does. It looks
yeah,
like
yeah.
squiggles, which is not offensive. Like fair play. You've got your own fucking thing, but again, they'd probably look at us
Yeah,
and say
yeah,
the same.
100%.
But how many of them did like I say them? That sounds very hard. Like how many Arabic people come and learn our language and we don't return the favour? It's insane, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
I think
yeah. Fair play to your sister, man. Is she like? Would you say she's was it bilingual or was it? It begins with an F, doesn't it?
fluent.
No,
No, she's not fluent.
But she's
But
still
yeah, because
like. Just...
she's like, I think she has been learning for I don't know 2-3 years maybe. I think I'd say now.
I think you'd have to give a lot of time for that. You really would.
So yeah, but I think she can. I think she can read it now. So I think she reads Arabic books now. So like let's like learn it more. But
and this is just.
But then she showed me because she like works with Armenia and stuff. So she showed me their language. That's even another. That's a whole other alphabet, I think. But that's metal.
Oh, really?
Literally, she showed me some like a page of a book, Armenian book or whatever. Literally, not even joking. Every single word looks like an N or a W, and I was like, no, like a full word was just like 5 N's in a row. I was like, how was that? How was that a word? I was like, no, that's what actually mind blowing. That how the fuck you learn? You can even.
No, I know what you mean. I fully know what you mean.
How we can even comprehend to learn that? I have no idea.
But it's the same as like the I think like it's why like Asia stands as one of the smartest countries in the world because their language alone is insane. Like to a level of like it's symbols really, isn't it, for their letters? But to them, it's obviously letters. Like it's not again being offensive, but they have all these symbols. But then they go on to learn English, and it's like for you to be able to go from that to that at such a young age. Like, your brain is still able to learn so much. Like, this is what I was saying to Tristan before. Like, he, especially his mate who also knows Russian as well as, like, because they have such a cultured, like, thing. If you are able to learn 3 languages by, they only turned 19, like, not long ago. So, they know 3 languages by the time they turn 19. They've got so much room in their brain to learn so much more.
It must make you so clever being fluent in another language. That's what makes it.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm hoping for. That's why I'm doing it, to try and get some brain cells
I
working.
think my point was going to be like I couldn't comprehend my brain just saying like I'm speaking English for a moment, and the next moment I'm speaking Norwegian. Like, how does your brain switch that quickly to speak another language? But like now, because my stepbrother's been in Spain for the past 10 odd years or whatever. So now he can speak fluent Spanish and all that. So like, and obviously, and then he's raising his son to be English and Spanish, and he can speak both, and he's only a couple of years old. It's like, I don't know how your brain switches like that from like one language to another. Like, you have to be so like. But I think that's the thing. I'd say you have to be so clever. But every other country apart from England knows 2 languages. So it can't.
Well, yeah, a lot of English do know.
But I think you have to learn it from a young age, don't you? Really.
Yeah, definitely. I think when you get raised into it, it comes to a different sector really of your brain, doesn't it? Like, so like what I'm thinking now, because I've announced that I'm doing Norwegian to our Norwegian friend that I plan to see in hopefully less than a year's time. Yeah. And I'm thinking, I'm going to have to master this. And I'm panicking because, like I say, same as you, like, I can say a sentence, right, already. That's 3 days in, like, like an hour and a half in. But it wouldn't be able to, I listen to his Snapchats and I'm like, I still can't understand what he's saying. Because they speak so fast. So, like, I still panic to this day right now. I mean, it's, again, only really, really early in. But I panic that I'll be at a position where I'm like, I'm going to have to try. That's what my point is, if I can get to it. Is I don't get how people who can speak it. Speaking it's one thing. Reading it's a different thing. Yeah. But also, listening to someone else talk to you in that different language is a whole new level. How people change like that. So you could be speaking, you see these people in meetings who can translate essentially.
Translators are mad. Like, no, they're actually crazy.
Yeah, because they get paid some big coin then. They get paid some massive coin because they have to sit there and listen to an English person speak in a different language. Yeah. Listen to that different language. Speak to an English person.
Translating it while the person speaks. Like I find it possible to talk over someone and listen to them at the same time. So this person is literally speaking and talking over them at the same time. It's like, what the fuck? I could not do that in a million years. my brain just doesn't comprehend that. Is absolutely mental.
That is insane. To be fair,
I'm not. I'm fuck.
I think we both are. I think that's just English, like in general. R.I.P.
Yeah.
But that all came off just the Viking TV show. I'm impressed by that.
That's how much off topic we're going on. At the start, it was like 2 minutes. Maybe at the start, it was like 10 minutes topic, and now we literally spend an hour on one.
Before we started this podcast, like the 4th episode, I was going to say to you, I literally closed down an episode. Like we have like a document like that on Google Drive that like just let us know where we're at, what we're doing. I was going to say to you, like I've closed it because what I found in the last few episodes is that we're too scripted. Yeah. Because we're panicking. Like we've both done YouTube for how many years? A lot of years, really. So we're used to that YouTube kind of like cockiness, well not cockiness, but like trying to promote yourself. So we kind of, I feel like in the last few episodes we kind of come across like that. Where realistically you just want to, like, if you hear this far into the episode anyway, you just want to hear us chat shit. So I was going to say to you at the beginning of this, like, I just closed Google Docs. I didn't expect it to go this well.
Yeah, what I mean, yeah.
I didn't expect to smash it out too much.
I think I'm rude. I'm so like worried, like, oh, what if we run out of things to say? But we haven't yet. You know what I mean? I think that's the thing of like,
we've got so much on our. I mean, I think forever we'll end up talking politics for some strange, fucked up reason. But it's because we're open minded. Realistically, we're just hoping, and I speak for myself, but I think you'll agree, is we're just hoping for someone to comment underneath or send a message or whatever platform you listen to. And just say, like, your opinion. Yeah. And I kind of want you to disagree with what I'm saying. Not so I can argue with you. So I can hear from you. Exactly. You know what I mean? I think that's why we talk about it, because it's so controversial. I think we like talking about it. Maybe I'm wrong. But, anyway, so that all off the Viking TV show.
Yeah.
I've got to ask you one question, because we're firing. And this is the third question of one whole segment. This one whole section. Did you watch Cobra Kai?
I saw the first 2 seasons.
Have you not watched
seen
the
the new
new
season
season
yet, no.
yet? You've been very busy, though. That's
Have you seen it,
understandable. And on that note, yeah. Well, I've seen. Yeah, I actually have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate to go to myself. Yeah, I've seen the full season. Did you watch Karate
Yeah.
Kid? Oh, that's good then. All three.
I think I have at some point. I have at some point in my life, but I can't remember them.
Thing is, that's a hard thing. I wouldn't judge you if you said no or not.
I've definitely seen.
It's such an old
never
movie.
seen the first one all the way through. But the second and third one, I think I might have seen Joe on TV, and you watch like half an hour here and there. I think that's probably what I did with the second and third one.
Suggestion. So obviously, the only positive news this month, this year, I say a month. It was obviously Cobra Kai released their new season, which ended on a massive cliffhanger if you've been watching it. So what I would say to you, if you're not too sure on seeing episode, is it episode? I can't remember how they pronounce it. Anyway, Karate 2 or Karate 3, Karate Kids. I would suggest you watch both of them first. All three. I watched all three after watching the first two seasons, just because some rather relevant characters come into it, and it'll relive you to the story. But this new season, definitely a big watch.
I think it is mint how they've done it. But obviously, like it is.
Yeah.
Obviously, before the podcast, we spoke about it for like a minute there because we just on like IMDb and whatnot. And I think it's crazy how like it is very cheesy, typical American stuff, isn't it? But at the same time, it is like it is good. At the same time, and I think it's crazy how they still got the same actors. I think that's mental. I don't know how, obviously like from stuff back then. If you did that with like a lot of stuff, they'd probably be fucking dead from drugs and alcohol, or they'd just be not acting anymore. Do you know what I mean? So it's quite surprising now.
A lot of them I haven't seen either of them act.
Nothing. Oh yeah, same. To be fair, yeah.
But he's a shout out, and I know you relate to this, right? So How I Met Your Mother, amazing series, absolutely adored it. If you haven't watched it, watch it. Big up. But me and you relate to this, don't we? So on one episode, Barney is obsessed with the idea that Johnny isn't the bad guy. Yeah. He's the good guy. Yeah. And he actually gets both of them in. I don't know if you remember the episode. I think
no, I remember it. Yeah.
In a certain part, I don't want to say too much about it, but yeah. So he gets both of them actors in, and this is where it stemmed from. From what, again, I'm not factually, do look at me as a factual person. So he gets both the actors who played Johnny and both the actor who played Johnny, the actor who played Danielson. And he said Danielson out of instinct. Yeah, exactly. And he gets both of them in this episode. And after that episode, because of this joke that How I Met Your Mother made with Barney saying that he thinks Johnny's the innocent guy, they actually made Cobra Kai on YouTube. It was I'm sure it was a YouTube special. Yeah. So it was like a jokey show. It was like at least a trailer on YouTube. And that is where the idea came from to make this like Cobra Kai, because it took off, obviously, and that's where Cobra Kai starts with, like Johnny. It doesn't really mention Danielson until like 2 or 3 episodes in or something, and then you see.
I think it is good how they have like flipped it on its head. So now the protagonist is the bad guy that was in Karate Kid. He is now the good guy, and obviously it does like flashbacks and stuff, doesn't it? And when you look at it the other round. Yeah, is it Johnny? You say? He Johnny, was bullying Danny. So he was bullying him, but then if you look at the other way around, Danny was trying to steal Johnny's girlfriend. So
So in the movie, since I was a kid, I've always been a big fan of the movie. Not to spoil it or anything, just the first scenes of the film. Danny gets with this girl, and she's just recently broke up with a boyfriend, who's Johnny. When Johnny looks, you don't really hear Johnny's side of the story. He just tries to bully Danny to try and get him off this girl. That's the basic side of the story. So that's not spoiling anything. But in the show, it starts with saying that basically Johnny and his girlfriend went on a break, and that's all they did. They didn't break up. They just had a fight, and then Danny came in, not knowing that. To be fair, Danny's not in the wrong in that situation because he didn't know that he was just talking to this random girl. He didn't know she had a boyfriend or whatever. But especially on this new part of the season that's just came out, or this new season that's just came out, it definitely emphasised it because I think they realised how much that worked for them.
Yeah.
They're using both sides of the story. So in this part of the season, you'll see like a lot of more flashbacks, a lot more playing on it. So you see both sides of the story, and I think that's why it works so well. Is because you don't just see one person's side of the story. So in the movie, you see Daniel's side of the story.
Yeah.
You do see Johnny's side of the story a lot as well. And I think it is really good how it plays out. Definitely. You know what? I agree with Rotten Tomatoes, actually. I think right now, at this moment in time, that is the best show out of the moment.
I don't know. I think it's too cringy at some point. Obviously, like, cringy is good, obviously. But I think at some point, I think it's a bit too stereotypical.
Americanized.
It seems like that love story with that lass, and like it's kind of like a love triangle kind of thing, and it is like with them fighting. It's all really predictable. But yeah, but at the same time, it is good.
I definitely watched the third season before you said that. I definitely agree with the first two seasons. It gets a bit too, and you're like, yes, you seem to be arguing with your TV.
Yeah.
Because you're like, well, that's predictable. Yeah, I know what you're saying, but third season plays a bit more on the originals, which is worth watching. If you watch all three of the originals, it makes it. Yeah. But I agree with it as a sense of not like talking about games like, oh, it's Sunny Philadelphia or anything like that. I mean, as a show that you're actually going to seriously sit down and watch, I definitely say it's the best out of the time. But that's my opinion. To be fair, as a young kid, my big things were Rocky and Karate Kid. So I guess maybe it's a biased opinion, but I love like the actors behind it.
I think it's really good binge watch because I think it's only 10 episodes a season, not 8.
Yeah, you seem to be, and they're not that long, really.
So yeah, it is really good at binge watch. So I would recommend it. Like,
well, like talking about Vikings and that seems to drain you a bit more, but like because it's so heavy.
Yeah,
Where Cobra Kai.
At the moment, I've not watched any series TV shows in a while. I can't actually remember what it was. So at the moment, me and my last all I've been watching is NCIS.
Oh fuck me!
That's all I've been watching for the past like couple of weeks is NCIS, because we finished Criminal Minds, which is unreal by the way. Well, I was watching that. Emily watched it every now and then. So I finished that. So then we're like, I really want to watch something else like that. So NCIS is on Amazon Prime. So we've been watching that, and it just because most stuff like that you can just dip in and out. You don't have to focus completely on it. You have to focus a little bit, but not entirely. That's because like some TV shows, you have to like if you miss a single second of the TV show, you don't know what's happening for the full thing. Do you know what I mean? So I'm a bit like at the moment like we just watch like kind of casual. It's got more like casual viewing stuff at the moment rather than like heavy viewing.
Yeah, I like to like just like days I've got a proper attention like can't be fucked. Like so I'll put on my phone.
I feel like it's graft to proper watch a TV show because you have to. I feel it's work, isn't it? To watch a TV show, say like Vikings or something, because you have to literally, you can't turn your attention away for a single second because then you've missed the whole like story.
I've never watched Is it NCIS? Yeah. Is it like New York CSI?
It's Washington DC, but it's a Navy criminal investigation. Yeah.
I've heard big things about it. It's quite old as well, isn't it?
I think there's like fucking God knows how many seasons of it now. A lot.
It's
but it's quite good, yeah. But it's just like it is a typical American criminal thing. Like they're all exactly the same. They all have like all characters. They all have like the geeky one, the good looking girl, the good looking boy, like the boss. They're all very stereotypical characters, but it's also like a good laugh at the same time.
I might have to go on. That sort of thing is like I hate cheesy American acting. When say when especially Christmas came over, Sarah loved watching Christmas films, but even if the next Netflix original, and they were just so annoying, and I can't stand. It's not just Christmas films. It's like when they're just like cheap budget American films, and it's just the most cheesy American acting. And that's what I can't stand. So as long as you're telling me that NCIS isn't that cheesy, then
yeah, I mean it is, but it is because it thinks it's quite funny at times as well. But
yeah.
if you do want to watch something, I think I'd 100% recommend Criminal Minds though.
Is that on
Netflix? Amazon. That's on Prime.
Oh, Prime.
But I'd 100% recommend that. Criminal Minds is mint because the storyline of that is quite good. But towards like the last couple of seasons, like quite a few like the characters changed and whatnot. And like some of them are only in it for like a couple of episodes or like only in it for like one season, then they end up leaving or whatever. But no, it is. I would definitely recommend Criminal Minds. Like it is mint.
Geez, that sounds like something that like me and Sarah
it's a
would
very
like to watch
good
together,
like, kind of like casual viewing, but not casual at the same time. It's not as casual as like a comedy sitcom. But it's not a series like Vikings or Game of Thrones kind of thing. If you know what I mean.
You don't have to look at every single day.
Exactly, because you could just watch one episode out of the blue kind of thing.
That seems like actual perfect to sit down with your partner and watch, but you know for a fact she'll fall asleep and then you'll be in trouble. And you'll never end up seeing a new episode for another.
But I guess the kind of cool thing is in this as well, like, because like just if you're invested in it, like it doesn't matter if you miss a couple episodes really. It just say at the end of this season, the beginning of this season, they're like sometimes them episodes might go off into maybe like 10 episodes later. One of them, a bad guy might come back 10 episodes later or something. But yeah, so like just say if like maybe watch an episode or two while we have like tea or whatever after work, and then maybe when she's asleep or something, and then maybe when I'm like going to bed or something, I might watch an episode. But just say if nothing major happens, then Emily's not that bothered about watching that episode because it's something like
shit, yeah. So like doesn't carry on from each other.
So if something does major happen, I'd tell her I've watched the episode again, or I'll just tell her what happens, kind of thing. Where it just says something like Game of Thrones or Vikings, where you have to you can't really explain what happens in the episode. You have to watch it, kind of thing. It is a really good viewing, I think. Like stuff like.
But I'm gonna give that a go. I need a new.
What I was wounded about was on my TV on Prime. It doesn't say like when TV shows are leaving Prime or not. So now I loaded it up on my tablet on my phone, or like Prime Video, and then it said, "Oh, NCIS leaving Prime in 5 days," and I was like, "No, surely not." No, I was like, finally got into a TV show that I love for the first time in ages. It said, "Oh, leaving Prime in 5 days." I was like, "No, absolutely wounded." Until yesterday, it says it's not leaving Prime anymore. And I was like, "No, it must be glitch or something." It says it's been leaving for the past 5 days. So I looked, and then there's like a list saying like TV shows leaving in the next 30 days, and it's not on that list anymore. So they must have come like a last minute deal. Where like some still on Prime, and I'm like absolutely buzzing. I'm like, oh, thank God for that, because I couldn't be bothered to find another TV show to watch. Like, oh no, I'm watching this till it dies. Like, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's the thing, isn't it? Because so many fucking things like with Netflix and Amazon fighting each other, like so many things are losing. You don't know where to be. I've got both now, just on the fact that I don't know where to go.
Me and Emily have got Disney Plus. And I've not watched Disney Plus in God knows how long. Well, I watched it. If you saw Soul, the new movie on Disney, it's at the news. I think it's quite good. It is really good. I'd say I try and explain it, but I think I might spoil it by even trying to explain it really. But no, it is really good. I'd definitely recommend it. But yeah, and then maybe watch a movie on that maybe once a week, maybe. And then Netflix have just raised their price now at £14 a month. I think.
I hope not.
It totally depends what package you have.
I've got no package now at £14 a week.
Because I've got like I think I said before, I've got like the best package you can have on it. So obviously you can have 4K viewing and you can have 4 people viewing at the same time. But I think it was 11 or 12 quid, and now it's either 13 or 14 quid. So I thought, no, but I was like, but they can though, because like, Jesus. I think there's like, obviously, it's I think it goes up in price every single year, or every couple of years. And there's got to be a certain point where it gets too expensive. But I was like, I don't know what that point will be, because no matter how much it costs, it's still better than watching TV with adverts. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, there's got to be a certain But
Oh yeah,
but I was
I
like,
think TV's
yeah,
dead
because
now.
I was thinking,
Really,
I feel like
to be
I
honest.
thought not recently. I've not watched Netflix in ages because I've just pretty much on Amazon Prime. But I think even then, I'd put like maybe at a push, I would probably still pay 20 quid a month for Netflix or something because there's nothing else to watch. Do you know what I mean?
I know. To be fair, fucking Netflix is
Yeah, it's all
pure
but because
shite.
all it is mainly Netflix originals now, isn't it? Um,
Yeah, and I personally I don't know if it's just I think Netflix originals are you on like not all of them are, but some of them I think are proper crap. But I don't know if it's compared that Amazon actually put some proper
yeah,
coin in
yeah.
them. So I seem to find that I like Amazon Prime, but at the same time, Amazon Prime isn't a lot of movies. It looks like
I
there's a
think
lot more
Prime's a bit
movies,
bare
but
for movies or plus
yeah,
or
exactly. And but they
yeah.
sell the
I
movies.
think
That's
that's
the
why, yeah,
thing.
because
So
they
it
can
looks like
still
there's a
buy.
lot of
Because
them.
obviously, when you go on Prime Video, they still show stuff. Like, oh, this looks good, and you click on it, and it's like, oh, not available on Prime. You have to buy it. It's like, oh, fucking hell.
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
so it's a bit like, yeah, they can still make money from it, and then the subscription. Because I don't think the subscription price has changed in a while, um,
No,
which
yeah,
is good, and it's definitely worth it. Like, plus, included of that, you get free Prime delivery as well, which is really useful. And then you
oh
get
yeah,
like
definitely.
Amazon as well.
That's the only reason I got
Yeah,
it.
so
Originally.
that it is £10 better value than Netflix. But yeah, the movies are a lot worse, I think. But it's good for shitty movies. Like they have loads of like say like B movies, like indie movies and all that stuff. Like they have loads of like shitty horror and thriller films and stuff on. Um, like when me and Emily
Yeah,
go for like
yeah.
horror phase, we just watch a bunch of like probably shitty like rip off horror films on there. So
How you can even do that to your poor
it's just got
self?
like laugh at them really. Because they kind of make it. They're like, oh, the director's not like we're not shit, but they know, like it's like £10 budget in the full film.
Yeah, but they still managed to make.
Yeah, but what the bad thing about that is though, another mint TV show to binge watch, Chicago Fire. It's fucking amazing. So it's about like a fire department. It's kind of more like a drama thing about a fire department or whatnot, but it's fucking unbelievable. Like the storyline is and all. That's kind of a bit like Interstellar. Like each episode's kind of there's more of like a base storyline to that, but you can kind of dip in and out of it a little bit as well. So that's kind of a bit of like a serious and not serious at the same time. Um, but then the human thing is like 8 seasons, right? I watched the first 4 seasons. But I think I watched the first 2 seasons like in a couple of days. It was like going to binge watch the fuck out of it. Um, and then finish the fourth season. Go watch the fifth season. Seasons fucking 5 to 8 aren't on Prime. You have to buy them. I'm like, oh, and it's like fucking 20, 30 quid for the season. I'm like, oh no, fuck that. It costs so much to buy a season just separately. I was like, oh no, fuck it. I'm not buying it. Like if it was cheap, I maybe would, but like the prices for like stuff like buying digitally, it's so fucking expensive. That's just like that, not worth the price. I don't think.
Yeah, it's just fucking insane, really. And it's why so many people focus on streaming. And to be honest, we said this about Steam game wise. Do you remember we said this about what we were in like year 11 when we said this? We said the gaming industry, and same thing happened to Blockbusters, and then obviously you say about streaming like TV wise, it's gonna be the same
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
It's gonna get outsold by like the likes of Steam. And Steam, if you don't play games, is the essential game version of
Yeah, yeah.
Netflix.
It can't, apart from you have to buy the games instead of streaming.
Yeah, you still have to buy the games, which is good because it means like the company still gets the exact price they sell it for, but it means nobody wants a
Yeah.
hard copy
But like I
anymore.
said, is it
It's
similar?
all,
Like,
it's
because
all,
Xbox Game Pass and stuff, you play and all that, isn't it? Well, because
that's probably more better
especially see
example,
how
isn't it?
big
Really?
Xbox Game Pass is now. Because you could literally buy a console and never own a physical game and still play all the mint games that you wanted to, and pay like a monthly subscription of what is it, 5, 6 quid a month, and you can play all the games.
Yeah.
It is like mint, so you literally don't physically have to
But
own
it's
this.
just shit hard drive they give you though, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
They only give you shit hard drives on it.
But then even now with Google Stadia and stuff like that, you don't even need a hard drive to fucking play the games. So, do you know what I mean? Like, because it's all, even the games themselves are streamed. So you don't even have to, like, download the game. You can just instantly play it.
Oh shit! Yeah.
So it's all even like Google Stadia and all that stuff now. Which is, yeah, I think it's surprisingly, it bombed quite a bit. Since it was meant to be like a massive revolutionary thing. But yeah, it's kind of bombed a bit. I think it's because it's not. it's not needed that much yet. I don't think. I think it's because it's people. I think at the moment people are quite loyal to Steam. Like people want to get the the number of games up on Steam. It's quite kind of a big thing, isn't it? Um, so I think that it is quite like a big thing still. So I mean, it might take a
Yeah,
while for.
definitely. Yeah, I think Steam's got its own community at
Yeah,
this point,
yeah.
hasn't it?
I think it'll be quite a while before. But I mean, it is a really good thing. I think because when the Stadia got announced, it was like, oh, you don't need that good of. You need obviously still need decent internet, but you don't need that good of an internet connection to play it. But then apparently, yeah, you do actually kind of need like quite a good internet to stream the games and stuff. Um,
Oh yeah,
it
100%.
is a really good thing though. But I think it's just, I think it's too. Is it? We just say it's too early for when it's needed. Maybe. Like, I think so.
Like
Yeah,
ahead of its time,
I think it might
essentially.
be too early. I think it seemed like quite a lot of things like Google. It seemed like the Google Glass stuff and all that. Do you remember hearing about that? Well, I
Yeah,
think it was
yeah.
like fucking 2012 or 2013 when that came out or something, wasn't it? That shit was way ahead of its time, and now, but it was that ahead of its time that it was too expensive, and it was just like you don't need it. Like, I
Yeah, I know. It
I
gets
think it's the same
boycotted,
as
isn't it? Yeah.
VR now. Like VR, obviously, it's getting bigger and
Yeah.
bigger now, but it's still not as big as it should be. Seems all back in the day, like everyone was like, "Oh, VR games, you're gonna play. It's gonna be like Ready Player One. Like everyone's gonna be engrossed in this game and stuff." But now it's
Mm.
like it's a bit like do you know what I mean? It's a bit like it's good, but it's
Yeah. No, you said it there. It's like you've said it there. That's what it is. Like we were talking about what Oculus Rift in 2013. Like that's been around
yeah,
for a long time. And people literally, like you said there, I mean, you know, you were just struggling to find the words, but you went, like, that's how
yeah,
people
yeah,
looked at it. Gamers, I mean, people like me and you, like, a lot of gamers like me and you were like, oh,
yeah,
I
yeah.
want that. We did want it, but it's something you dreamt of.
It's easier
Now
to
that,
dream of it rather than actually play it. Because I feel like at the moment, like me
yeah,
and you, like last year, we're like, oh, we'd love to get VR and do this, but now I could probably buy one right now. But at the same time, like I'm not that bothered. Like so,
yeah, I mean, what was it, like, early December, I literally messaged you saying
yeah.
I was going to get it. And I was going to get it. Like, I did, and to be fair, to this day, the day, I want it. I do want it.
I think
But
yeah,
the thing is, I
yeah. I'd
could
say
live without
yeah.
it. There's still so many good things. I
It's
think
more of a
it's more
novelty in it.
you want
I
to
think it's a
advance.
lot more of a novelty
That's what I
than
mean. Like you want to advance, right? It's all good wanting to advance, but when there's still so much going on for the thing that's in relevance. So like, I want to advance onto VR, but the games aren't better.
yeah.
I enjoy the experience, but the games aren't better than the games I'm
Yeah, I
playing
think
on
and the
normal
thing I think
PC.
it's the price of getting the actual thing. Obviously, you can get like the Oculus Swift Crest and stuff, which it's like 200 quid, which is dead cheap for like a VR headset. And like obviously you can get all,
I don't know. Yeah. It's cheaper than a new
and then
graphics
you can get
card
all the
essentially.
mobile
Yeah.
ones where like you obviously just plug it into your phone and stuff. Which yeah, it is mint, like it's worth the money. But then it's more of a
Yeah.
novelty thing. Maybe you piss about of it for a week, and after that you'll be like, oh, I'm done now. Do you know what I mean?
I know.
I
Yeah.
think that's
I
what it
mean.
is. It's the same for new game. I'm the same with everything. Like I'm like, oh, I need to play this game now, so I'll buy it, and then after a week, I'm like, oh, yeah, cool. Like so,
Well, yeah. I mean,
I
I
probably
remember
had more
like,
fun watching it on YouTube. Than I did actually playing it myself. Like,
yeah, probably, or someone watching you play it on the TV
yeah,
while you're
yeah,
playing it. Like, I remember when the Kinect came out for the Xbox, like the
yeah,
first Kinect, and it was like the best thing ever. And don't get me wrong, I sweated to shit with that. That is amazing technology, and I think Xbox did better than any other. Like, and that's my opinion again. I've played on the PlayStation one, but the Kinect
yeah,
was
yeah,
amazing. Like, it's as close as VR as you're gonna get. I've also played on my brother's VR. Like, was it PlayStation something, wherever, where you put the headset on? It was basically PlayStation VR.
PlayStation Move, isn't it?
Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
Yeah, and I've played on that. That was like sick, really. Like, it was like pretty much Oculus Rift on PlayStation games, and it was sick. But that's what kind of made me realize it was like the games are still in development.
yeah,
They
yeah.
haven't figured it out yet.
I think it's because
I'm not gonna spend that money
yeah, I think
to
they
figure it
can't.
out.
Obviously, you can't because you have to have such a good hardware just to run the base game anyway. That like they can't
Yeah,
put a max graphics out like they can normal games because it takes that much processing power just to run the VR anyway. that I think VR is too ahead of its time, because obviously it's good to try, and obviously it will keep progressing and progressing. But
like
I
in
mean,
5 years' time, I
mean,
think it will be there.
I think even in the future, say like 100 years time, you're not going to want to be in VR. I don't think. Do you know what I mean?
I think about 50 in that knowledge.
I think it just depends how easy it is, because I mean, and how accessible it is, and how. Because I think myself, like, I get really bad motion sickness, and I mean, even in uni, I designed a VR game for my projects in uni with like my team, and I could only play that for a couple of minutes before feeling sick. So like, I couldn't actually buy in one. It'd be like, is it worth it? Yeah, I think.
Well, it's what you're raised in though, because you got to remember, me and you were raised on like. I was raised on the fucking Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
Like, we're not used to. I think, like, say in 10 years' time, VR is going to be so crazy, so detailed. I think it's actually going to be scarier playing VR than it is going, like, into a dangerous situation in real life.
In the future, I'm there will be like full-on Ready Player One things where like.
But like, that's what even like I'm saying, like in 10 years' time, you're gonna have 18-year-olds that are like.
I think that is,
Like, people who are turning 18 are going to be playing Fortnite in VR in 10 years' time. And like, they'll be, say in 10 years' time, so people who are 8-year-old now will be turning 18 10 years from now. And they'll have played these VR games. And they'll be like, I mean, look at Rekid. He's still younger than, like, he's still half my age. Imagine him in like 10 years' time. He's been playing VR games from the get-go. And it's like, he's going to be like, used to it. I think he'd feel motion sickness playing CS:GO because it's so like behind.
Game.
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm thinking, and it's the same as everything. Like, look at the culture we're raised in. See, I remember playing like. See, I was raised on like the Super Nintendo. Then I had the PlayStation 2, a lot older, and then my PC, which I luckily got, was graphics. I mean, you remember like I was playing like Gary's mod and like fucking low settings, and that's like basic anyway. And that's what me and you both used to. We were both used to, because you like the same. You like Age of Empires and stuff like that. You weren't raised on like fucking high tech games. So then you like imagine us now like at 13, 14 when we were playing like Modern Warfare, like a game that was quite pixelated. I've played it back now. It's so bad.
Like, like you go back and play like the original Modern Warfare, like on Modern Warfare 2, like the non-remastered version, and it's absolutely mental.
Yeah.
How like crazy, but then
it's crazy how you look at
like
it.
Age of Empires. They brought a HD version out like a couple of years ago, and I think this year or last year they brought a 4K version out, like even upscaled even more, and it looks like how I remember it back in the day. But then you look at the comparison photos and it's completely different. But that's how I still remember it in my head. Is it looking that good? I guess it's the same as any game. But where that stage right now, I think in the next couple of years though, like I can't see, especially with the new consoles, I can't see graphics getting any better than they are. Like, but like obviously they can, and obviously I'm a game developer myself, and I can. But like, especially with the new like Unreal Engine 5 and all the stuff they brought out with the new consoles that are coming out. Like, obviously at the moment, because they're not as great as you think they would be because of the new consoles, because they still obviously got to serve for the other consoles. But so I think maybe in a couple of years' time, stuff's gonna look fucking unreal. So yeah, it'll be mental how much it looks.
On that knowledge, like you see these people talking about like it's violent games making people violent. It's not. It really isn't.
That's all.
I had bad boys too.
About that. I think I did a whole paper on that.
Yeah. Yeah, it is so fucked up, and I'll only touch on that because I think now there is going to be a point where it is true. At the end of the day, you've got people going into war, right? And that is real, and I will not take that away from anyone. And they come back with like PTSD, and we make like remarks on it when we play a realistic game, don't we? Like a war game, like Hell Let Loose, and you're like, shit, man, because they are. You have the headset on, you're playing this game, you're immersed, and you'll see these explosions, and you actually do feel a bit shaken off by it. And you go to bed, like imagine them games in 5 years' time.
Even when you said like, I don't know how like nerdy whatever this is going to sound, but even when you said like, oh, we've went to bed after playing Hell Let Loose, and we've actually had like dreams about it. And like, obviously, I guess I felt that about Age of Empires, even though it's like a top-down RTS game. I've had dreams about playing that. I play it that much. But like Hell Loose, like I'm like, it is what it's got to be like. It's games like because the more they're not just say like a COD game, but it's like the more of like a simulator around there. The more the more cast is like a mil sim rather than a game. The more cast like a military simulator. So like you are playing it, and it's like you see these explosions and stuff, how mint the graphics are and all that, and it's like fucking hell, like it's actually mental how realistic it is. So like like you couldn't.
Yeah, like you feel it, don't you?
It is crazy because even then you're like fucking hell, like you're getting shaken up by something that isn't even real.
Yeah, so like I understand, like I've dreamt about many games that I've sweated, that I just dream about that I want to go back and play. But with this, like with Hell at Luke's, when I first played it for the first couple of nights, I was going to sleep and I was like, I'm having like kind of fear dreams about it in a weird way, and it's but I still urgently want to play it. And then like, but the difference is right with this game compared to COD. Like with COD, I'd say above average. I think with me and you both really above average, aren't we? Really. On COD, it's because we're not really that bothered about time. We just charge and shoot people, right? And that's what COD is. But when you play Hell at Loose, I feel personally, I'm scared to die.
You kind of with this, you actually kind of you don't want to die, kind of thing, do you? It's like you need to
you feel the emotion like that. You're scared to die, and when you die, you find yourself. Because it's quite realistic when you die as well. It's not like you get shot 3 or 4 times.
It's like one shot, you're dead.
Yeah, exactly. So you find yourself crawling these trenches, and you're like, looking over, like peek, and then you'll peek one time, snipe, boom, gone. And you kind of get the feel that that's actually someone's life.
I think it's the bad thing is when if you really think deep into it, is like that's probably obviously not I don't know the right word is not I can't remember the word is but yeah, I'm not trying to take anything away from actual people that are in the army. But obviously, you do play it like you do like pop your head out the trenches, and
we're not comparing it.
You get pinged, don't you? Well, then if you think about it, that's what it was really like with millions of people back in the war. It's like it does make you think. It's like fucking hell how people actually did that. I was never like it's like us now 23, 24 years old. I couldn't even imagine myself now going to war. Never mind like 16-year-old kids that did it. Like me, a 16-year-old, I fucking couldn't. I couldn't do that at all. Fuck God, I'm getting shot. I can't even do it in a fucking video game. Never mind real life. Do you know what I mean?
No, we don't
like,
do very well.
Like even going to say go paintballing or whatever. Like, I remember going paintballing. Look, it's like to be like normally I would like charge in. Fucking I don't care about getting shot or whatever me. But then you get other people just staying at the back. They not move at all. They wouldn't be scared of getting shot and stuff. I mean, there's some little bit I was like, say I was getting like suppressed by like under something. And I'm like, fucking hell, like, you'd be shit scared to move upwards. Like, you're literally crawling, like, you're probably tucked in by yourself. And it's like, fucking hell, don't need paintball. It's going to sting for like 1 second and that's it. So I couldn't actually imagine what it'd actually be like to be in a full-on fucking war. It'd be fucking insane.
I mean, that's it. Like, see, I wanted to go into several different things. Like, I've tried. But when you look at it like that and you're like, these people are like the heroes of the world, really. Mental. Like how to sacrifice, you are openly sacrificing to the people there's people out there that are veterans, and it's like just because they survived doesn't make them any less. Like like the whole time they thought, oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like you're still laying your life down for this country or that country or whatever country, and it's like how you could do that, and that's what we're talking about this game, and them games. They're getting too realistic, and I love them, and I will not badmouth them. And like Hell at Loose is probably my favourite game out at this moment, better than any game that has a decent budget behind it. But it's just scary.
Well, imagine that in 5 years' time. Imagine that game in VR in 10, 20 years' time.
Yeah.
Like imagine, but yes, I think it's similar. Like I guess it's like Ready Player One. I keep going back to it, but it's like the whole world's got a shit, and it's all just you go to this oasis. You got this euphoria in a video game, and that's 100% what I think the world will be like in like a couple 100 years time.
Well, I think it started it. Because like you've got that VR lobby.
It's simple. But remember, Second Life that came out 20 years ago. But that was the start of it. Also, I reckon 100%. Even now,
Yeah, I mean, even Minecraft's got the same kind of thing. Or you've got Sims. Sims is the same thing. Like I like playing Sims. I always have. But then when you look into it deeply, you're sat in life on a computer playing someone else, like a virtual person. And to be fair, the majority of the time that Sim is playing on the computer. So you're playing on the computer, playing a Sim.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a never-ending cycle, and I think that is. I love games, and I know a lot of people, and not a lot of people that listen to this, but a lot of people in the world, people who like are what we're talking about are stupid, they're lazy, they're fat, whatever. It's like no, like we've just got different interests. Like I love to go play rugby, I love to play football, I love to play all sports, but I like to sit and mung out on a computer as well or a console, because it does give you that relief from the world. And I think that's the danger, though. Like, say, we feeling that now. And our generation's probably the most depressing generation of all time. In 5 years' time, when people are playing, like, the VR games of Hell Let Loose, it's going to get fucking so much worse.
Yeah, that'll be
But maybe it's not a sign on the games. Maybe it's a sign we need to change society. We need to change what's going on in the world, rather than what's going on in the game.
Have you seen WALL-E? Like, do you know at the end where all the people on the spaceship and stuff and just revolting about these wheelchairs on the spaceship? That is literally what the world is going to be like in 1,000 years' time, I reckon. 100% that's what it's going to be like. Everyone's just going to be monked out on these fucking machines and not moving. That's what it's going to be like, I think. 100%.
Oh,
100%. That's literally what life's going to be like in 1,000 years' time or whatever.
Yeah, and to be fair, and that's why it's got to be one of the best films out, because it's so honest. That guy who was just sat in his fucking that Lilo or whatever, like what he's like trying to talk to Wally and that, and he's just like, and what they're all doing it, aren't they? But he's like, he says something, doesn't he? And like they're just giving me his food for him. And I think I can say, maybe not now, but obviously definitely it's where we're going. But like that George Orwell book, 1984. Beautiful book. I don't know if you've read it.
Definitely heard of it. Yeah.
You definitely need to read it, because it's about Big Brother, which is where Big Brother came from, the TV show. But it was right, and the reason it came so popular was because it's basically about the government. Like, say, if you know the TV show Big Brother, it's about like people being able to watch every single movie you do, and you can't do what Big Brother tells you can't do. So it's basically the government saying you can and can't do things, and that's like, and they can watch you, and he wrote that in the trenches, I believe, or I'm sure he was in the army in World War One or something, and he wrote that story in the trenches saying like, this is how the world's going to be in 1984. Obviously, he was a bit out. It was more 2000.
You got to give it to the man.
it's true. Oh yeah, he wasn't a predictor of time, but he was true. He could sense the government was turning that way. And it's true, and that's how the government's going to be.
I think,
and it's the same as Ready Player One. Like that was wrote at a different time.
The whole thing with like all this dystopian future stuff. It's all. I reckon 100% it'll all be true. Like even stuff like we saw like the 100 on Amazon. It's where like pretty much the whole world's gone to shit. So civilization literally lives in space on a spaceship. And these people, it's called the 100 because these 100 prisoners end up going back to Earth and living on Earth, and these people that have actually lived there for the whole time. It's the first time they went back to Earth in hundreds of years, because
I've heard about this.
Pretty much they left Earth because it ended in nuclear war. So they go back, and like the people that have actually still been living there, and survived and like adapted to the nuclear energy and all that shit.
It's actually worth watching.
Well, I watched the first couple of seasons, and I kind of dipped off. But I would love to keep watching it. But it is really good. It is really good, yeah. Because the storyline is admitting like there's like a bit like loads of action and like fighting and a lot of shit in it. Because it's kind of like you got these people that do come down from the spaceship, and then you've got like this other faction. I can't remember the names of them now. Who literally live there for the past hundreds of years through the nuclear war and all that, and then there's even another faction that come into it, and then the people like the prisoners that were there they end up turning against like people that were on the spaceship and stuff like that. So it is all mental, but it is all really good stuff though. Like the concept, but yeah.
Oh, that's definitely give it a watch. I know it was a big thing, wasn't it?
Yeah,
at the time
yeah,
when
but
it came
it
out,
was stuff
that
like
thing.
all stuff
But
like
it is
that, isn't
true.
it? And then even like I guess like is it like District 9 and Elysium and like,
Oh,
like
District 9,
Elysium and
yeah,
a lot
Elysium,
like
yeah.
even Maze Runner and all that stuff in Hunger Games. 100% that'll all become true probably in a couple of years' time. Do you know what I mean?
You
Yeah,
can see it,
100%.
can't you? You can actually.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, fair play. And like again, you read. That's why I'm into writing, because it's the eye. You see it in the prospect of your eye when you write it. You don't really think about what you're writing. You just write what's in your mind
Yeah.
or how you feel. So that's how you know it's true. So like J.R.R. Tolkien, wrote the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit.
Yeah.
But when you look into it, like it's with Lord of the Rings, the Hobbit, whatever, the same characters. Like the elves were the English, it's got like the good and the bad, and he had loads of different because he was also fighting World War One.
Yeah, because he wrote it in the trenches, didn't he? He wrote a lot in it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know what I mean? And a lot of people did. You know what I mean? A lot of famous writers came from World War One, World War Two, and his perspective was like this Middle Earth was just the world he was living in, like the trenches in France. Like that's just where and so. You can't get. I don't think you can get a more honest opinion than a writer's opinion.
Yeah.
So that's why people read even Harry Potter. People read Harry Potter and they go because they know obviously J.K. Rowling was in a tough time at the time when she wrote it. They think there's more to it, and that's when you end up in the spiral of shit. But it makes sense, especially when you talk about the future with stuff like George Orwell. Or I don't know who wrote Ready Player One, but it's a big book, and I feel like I'm disregarding the guy or girl, and I feel really bad on that because it's meant to be an amazing book as well. But Ready Player One and obviously J.R.R. Tolkien and X, Y, and Z, it goes on.
Ernest Cline, I think is his name.
Ernest Cline? What for Ready Player One? Yeah.
So it's set in a dystopian future in 2045.
So we're not far off then. That's all right then. At least I'll be what? I'll be 40-odd-year old by the time I talk.
So the film that came out in 2018, the remake came out. That was directed by Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, I enjoyed the film.
I think it was quite good. Yeah.
But it definitely is looking that way. I mean, it's honestly, we're in a world where the government runs everything we do, and people that believe this what's it called what's it called? Fucking Illuminati. No, Illuminati, yeah. But it's becoming more obvious that it's true.
Yeah.
It's not conspiracy. It just obviously is true that there is people even above the government. And that's not a conspiracy because I'm not going into that yet, but we're going to end up just doing what we have to do to survive. I think it's going to be every man for himself at one point. And that's how humanity restarts. I think we're going to end up being what we were before, clans.
Well, yeah, I think that's pretty much where the 100 comes from. It is literally people are going back to Earth and starting from scratch. Obviously, these the people that from the spaceship, they've got technology and guns and stuff. But then there's other people, they're pretty much back to caveman days. It's mental.
Yes.
Because obviously there's no technology. Technology couldn't work. Cause I think they just EMP'd and nuked the whole world, just got to shit. So nothing worked, kind of thing.
Yes, it's they've got the technology in that boom.
Oh, right. Should we end it there then?
It's been very fun too. What's it? We're on 4.5 hours. Just
4.5 hours. Jesus Christ.
I've drank a full bottle of Gordon's and a can of
cider. Drank a full bottle of Gordon's.
What's wrong with that?
Was it full?
I'd say probably to the bottom of the bottleneck, so where it been. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm about to go to sleep.
I want to fucking for the next 10 years.
I'll probably try and do a YouTube video. Try and edit it out. It probably won't be any good, but I'll upload it anyway. During compilation. No, but yeah, we'll end it now. We've had a very what was it, 2 episodes now? We've had a very debatable.
If we wanted to, this could even stretch out to four episodes. It's what I was looking at. This could even make 4 or 5 episodes. It's good.
Yeah, we've done well. If we do this every week or every 2 weeks, then we're fine. Set for life.
Days, yeah. Obviously, let us know your opinions against our opinions, because people obviously, as always, our opinions are, different than everyone else's. So let us know. Follow us on our socials as always. Well, Kieran,
we definitely
Kieran DM us again if you're hearing this.
Yeah. If you're 4.5 hours in, Kieran, give the message. Big shout out to Kristen. I said Kieran and Tristan. Tristan and Kieran, yeah. But yeah, definitely give us some feedback if you're this far in. Definitely want to hear it. I don't care about any controversy. We're all open-minded here. And next episode will be about it. And we can slate it. No, I'm joking.
So, well, yeah, fuck knows what next 365 episodes are going to be like, because we've just talked about every single topic under the sun. So.
Yeah, well, yeah. Every topic under the sun and his daughter.
Happy days.
We didn't talk about Dry January, though.
No, we did. Because we just said we pretty much weren't doing it.
Oh, is that fair play.
Pretty much talk. Actually, we did get through pretty much all our topics, I guess. Well, most.
I mean, it only took us 4.5 hours.
It only took us 4.5 hours, and we had four topics.
Yeah, it's an hour. No, one of them topics is segments that we only did one of the segments.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it's been fun. As always, and I can't wait to do this next episode. What's the next episode going to be?
Well, yeah, no idea what this is going to be titled, so good luck figuring out what this is going to be titled. This is...
Wubba
Part 1.
Josh's favourite saying is wubba bub bub. Whenever a girl asks for his phone number, he goes wubba bub bub.
No, I was like...
What's your real name? Is it not David?
Like,
wubba bub bub. Yeah, true. In the bin. If someone had installed that, we're gonna get everywhere. Get in the bin.
Get in the bin. Once you've had a couple on the draft, get in the bin. Well, happy days there. Thanks for listening.
Listening, and thanks for listening to me, Josh. I've chat ultra shit.